This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Kaylin Branford of Ultros, Darbykins of Sergeant Anus, Arkari LeBaron of Cerberus. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Nero.
Drink with me, friend.
Kahlo.
Oh my god. What if I'm gay for Tolkien?
Juxtaposition.
More Hot Pocket.
And Nika.
Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing!
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio. A radio rad. A radio rad. We're a radio rad. What's up, guys?
What? Radio Radical?
Yeah.
I think we've already used that before.
Fuck off.
Yeah, definitely use that.
You need to give us more like...
You can't. Can you cite episode number? No.
Episode number 11.
No, I don't think that's
sure?
true. No.
Can you prove that that's not true?
Can you prove that it is true?
Can you prove that it's not true right now?
No. Can you prove that it is true right now?
The burden of proof is on you.
No, it's not. I don't think that that's right. Welcome to the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Let's kick it on over to our studios and our iCam in the studios, which we are now calling the butt cam. Which when they said upgrades, the air quotes,
Yeah, they're correct.
upgrades to the iCam system, I did not know that it meant focusing on everybody's genitals.
More like butt grades, am I right?
Holy shit.
Jesus.
I mean, I go back and I'll watch I'll watch the episode on YouTube because I can't always monitor the stream like while we're live. And so I like to go back and see some of the fun, goofy stuff that people do in the studio because it is really clever. I mean, people get really clever and creative with it. And so I like to go back and watch. And I was like, oh my God, there is a preponderance of butt shots.
You know what? I can't help but wonder.
Buffalo shots all over the place.
I
oh my God.
I think I know the reason. With Ellie Button's unfortunate departure from Twitch, I bet this is her. This is the ghost of her channel. Affecting our iCam and just focusing on all the butts.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
I just like the thought of the iCam. If you could actually see like the cameras in the studio, people be like, "Why is there a camera taped to the bottom of this table?"
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
You know why.
We can see them.
You know why. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Of course, I am Nero Grigori, and I'm joined by Juxtaposition and Escalia Rayamasa in studio. And joining us by Skype, we've got Kahlo, because it's a working bitch. Right?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Got to pay the bills. Anyway, glad to have you here. We are -1 Nika today. It's okay. We will soldier on. But yes, we are down one gigantic Rogaden. There's a lot of elbow room in the studio. I noticed today.
Actually, you know what I've noticed? There's a freaking Dragoon on the other side of her. I didn't know that was there.
On the other side of who?
On the other side of where Nika would normally sit, because Kookie's in her spot, so I can actually see past her now. And there's a whole other host over there.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's
usually
right.
I'm stuck in her shadow. It's It's actually brighter in the studio without her in the front of the window.
To be fair, you know how it feels to be stuck in all of our shadows.
It's only true because it hurts.
I didn't know you were back on Sergeant Anus. When did that happen?
Yeah, that was like a few months ago, actually. I was well hidden.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Is this your first time in studio for a while?
No,
I feel like it is.
Really? Oh,
welcome, Mascalia, Rayumasa.
I feel like an asshole now.
Glorious return to Sergeant Anus.
I guess.
Yeah.
Guys,
how many weeks did it take for us to notice? Like, honestly.
Today.
Yeah, no. I know. If we're noted, I'm saying, like, how long did it really take? How long did that take? How long ago did this happen? You said a few weeks, but exactly.
Try a few months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been like 7 weeks since I came back.
How come you haven't done anything with us? You're never here for Reset Day. You never run dungeons with us. You never come with us into Void Ark or into Midas.
I can never be here on Tuesdays. I hate my job. Yeah.
I actually wanted to apologize, everybody, because the reason that we were a little bit late today was actually my fault. I'm on Juxta's headset.
Man!
It's a little bit better.
Shame.
Well, usually you guys blame me when it's not my fault, so it is my fault, and I'm apologizing. And the reason why is because I have something for them. I wrote a poem as an apology.
A poem is not a method of payment.
I'm socially awkward.
This one is going to be worth it, okay? It's short and sweet, okay? It goes, roses are red, Ascalia is blue, a Nero is a shitadin, and Juxta smells like one too. There you go, guys.
Wasn't even good.
Who's clapping?
Himself?
Juxta!
He's clapping for himself.
Oh, thought maybe like Ferris was in the background clapping.
Idiot. All right. Well,
Is that supposed to be funny?
Want to start the show off with a couple of notes here. By the way, I like how your drops work this week.
Yeah, right. It makes it a lot better when you can hear them.
Yeah. It sort of threw you off your game last week, didn't it?
It did. The first
I noticed when listening back, and there was a complete lack of drops.
The first time, like in LBR, I was trying to like find my new drops to play with them before I realized they're all broken. And I couldn't find them, so that threw me off. And then during FEC, after we decided not to use those drops, I could only find those when I was shifting through them. So I'm like, well, this is awful. It's the worst thing ever.
Nice job.
It's all bad.
Yeah, you're terrible. All right, so a couple of notes before we get full on into the show here. So those of you who are subscribed to the show through the Final Fantasy XIV RSS feed, right? Like it says, Limit Break Radio, a radio returns. If you're subscribed to that on iTunes or on whatever podcasting platform you listen on, there's going to be some changes, right? So like right now, if you're subscribed to that feed, there's a whole bunch of special episodes in there, and it's all of the FECs, it's all of the Final Encounter Cast, and it's all of the refresh episodes that we've put out. And so what's going to happen as soon as Final Encounter Cast starts going weekly, those shows are going to disappear from that RSS feed, and that specific feed is going to go back to only being FF14 content related. We wanted to try to encourage those who might not otherwise check out Final Encounter Cast or Refresh to check those out, and we're kind of noticing that it's really cluttering up that feed, and so we're going to strip those out, and that feed is going to be only for Limit Break Radio and Final Fantasy XIV content. And so Final Encounter Cast currently does have an RSS feed, but we're going to be making a new RSS feed for it, as well as a fresh RSS feed for Refresh as well. So if you like those shows, make sure that you do subscribe to those, and you can find those. We'll have links to that at our website, finalencountercast.com. But just so you know, if you're listening to this right now through our FF14 feed, Refresh and Final Encounter Cast are going to move to their own feeds. And then not only that, they're actually going to be stripped out of the Final Fantasy XIV feed. And then if you're subscribed to what we call the Limit Break Radio Network, that's really for every piece of content that we make. So everything is going to stay on that feed. If you want to get everything, subscribe to that. There you go. It's all done there. So number two is that finally, And I know that it's taken a while, and we're sorry that it's taken a while. But finally, we're ready to send out the Patreon t-shirts. So if you gave to Limit Break Radio, patreon.com/Limit Break Radio, if you gave at $50 or more at any point since the Patreon opened, that entitles you to a t-shirt. But the thing is that we need to hear from you. We got to know what size you need, and we need to know if you want a regular, like, unisex t-shirt, or if you want a women's t-shirt. So make sure you send us either
Hashtag dollar crotch shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of Buffalo shots going on today. But anyway, so make sure that you get to us with your t-shirt sizes. You can send those in either to hosts@limitbreakradio.com, or what's even easier, if you send those as a message at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. So let's get that all sorted out. Emails had been sent out. Check for those in your email inbox. You can also reply to those. That's another way that you can get it done. So,
yep, I sent out a bunch of emails. Most of them I sent out as Patreon messages, so log into your Patreon. I believe Patreon should send you an email once you get a message.
I feel like they should, yeah.
But if you haven't,
who knows if they do, though? I don't know.
For inactive patrons, I actually had to go and use their actual email address. So if you get an email from a weird person, that might be me.
Did you just send it from your private? You should have just sent it from limitbreakradio@gmail.com.
I should have, but it's really hard to get into that, and it's super laggy. So
Did you make sure to mention that you're Nigerian royalty?
I did.
Good.
I asked them for their bank account information, social, all the important things.
So if you get that email, it is trustworthy. Go ahead and fill it out.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to check out, we've got a picture of the t-shirt over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. But I'll also I'll do this right here. Bam, I'm rocking it today. So if you want this very, very awesome t-shirt, patreon.com/limitbreakradio at $50 or more, we'll get it done. All right, so let's put it back to the show. There we are. Enough of my ugly mug, and back to the Buffalo shots, please. So also, we wanted to send our deepest congratulations to our good friend Fusion X over at Gamer Escape, who recently announced his engagement. So congratulations, Fusion. He's been
biggest dude ever.
No, come on now.
Gay!
It's actually the opposite of that. Yeah, congratulations, Fusion. That is very cool, and congratulations. I've been meaning to say that for like the last 3 episodes, and it totally slipped my mind. And there you go.
Oh, he's gonna get married to a girl?
Yeah, to Corinth.
Oh,
yeah.
I just assumed that, guy.
Wow. You're a dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's honest about it. Yeah. He knows. He's aware.
Fair enough. So make sure that you send him a little congratulatory tweet. That's what's up, Fusion.
But that's it, just a tweet.
Yeah.
Don't actually message him or anything.
Just send him a tweet.
A very impersonal, non-binding tweet.
Well, you can personalize the tweet if you want it. Put like an emoticon or 2 in there. That's all on you.
And just before, I know we got to get into the Final Fantasy Fantasy League or Feast League. I'm not sure what the fuck we're calling it anymore. It keeps the name of it keeps changing. I feel like it changes all the time.
Final Fuckboy Fantasy League.
There you go. That's what it is this week.
Okay.
So something that I wanted to mention. I'm kind of disappointed that we're not doing a Final Encounter cast this week, because there are so many things that I want to comment on, that I want to talk about right now.
Bro, you gotta back off now.
Like, I'm chomping at the bit.
Save it for the show.
I know, but we gotta wait a week for it, and it's bugging me.
Yeah.
You guys get excited. I'm excited for Final Encounter Cast to start going weekly, because then this won't be a problem anymore, because I'll just be able to get it all off my chest.
You'll still be the same. I have to wait 3 hours to talk about this.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop him and Nika from having their epic arguments to where we wake up in the morning and there's like 200 messages.
Oh my god.
And then Juxta comes in, he's like, they're still at it.
It had to be more than 200. It had to be like
It was 2:46 when I woke up.
Oh, come on.
We're not even exaggerating, man.
so bad.
And then you think like, okay, 246 messages. I'll just click onto it to get rid of that notification, and then go shower, and then I come back and there's 60 more.
Dude, I was with my sister, hanging out with her.
Now, if this was at like 2:30 in the morning, you guys would have a point. But this was like Saturday afternoon.
You know what?
Yeah, this was yesterday afternoon.
It's not even the fact that you guys went at it for so long that bothers me. What bothers me is, had we actually needed something from Nika, she'd have been busy all damn day. No time to check her phone.
You know what? That's a really good point.
She was supposed to record some lyrics for me for my damn song yesterday, so I didn't get those, and I assume I can blame you.
Oh, too busy arguing to Ed and Nero.
There you go. So if you want to call the show, make sure that you send a Skype message over to the Skype account Limit Break Radio or 810-515-8715. If you use Discord or you'd like to join our Discord, that's limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Kookie will be happy to direct your call. Our, of course, amazing super duper producer Kookie will handle your call and pass you along to the show, and we'll get you on when we can. So anyway, you want to do your thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta get fancy.
Might as well do this. Got my music?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Here we go. Here's your music. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I love this. This is the best part of the show.
Right? There we go.
Is the Wii Sports music.
Yeah, thanks, Dick. Alrighty, guys. Week 6 of the league is officially in the books, and the race to the playoffs is on. With 4 weeks left until playoff time, oh my god, really? Thor!
5 speeds at a narrow drive.
Thor! How you doing this to me?
Longer than 9 lives. Infinite rhymes that can't die. I'm a homie with a divine mind. Kalos poems need to get good.
You know what? Screw it. Some
Nice
people
one.
won and some people lost. That's what happened this week.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do it if you
No,
want. 'cause I
go
did it
away.
way better than you did last week. I'm just
Shut
letting
up.
you know.
With 4 weeks left until the playoffs, there are only 2 games separating first and last place, so everyone is still in it. Much of the league chose to stand firm with their teams last week, but the 2 cellar dwellers made some alterations. Titans Banana Hammock cut Furion, choosing to sign Cyan and slot him in as their new tank. The Jailbirds ownership, meanwhile, called for a massive overhaul of the team and did just that. They chose to move Joe Never Fails to the coaching position, allowing Squall to become the team's melee DPS. They sent Garnett back to the bench in favor of Rydia, and not content with just those moves, they released Celtius and signed Vivi off the waiver wire to become their new range DPS. Those moves seem to pay off for the Jailbirds as they avenge their Week 1 loss against the Crucible, this time scoring a come-from-behind win and advancing to 2-4. With that loss, the Crucible falls to 3-3. Speaking of avenging Week 1 losses, Titans Banana Hammocks picked up their 2nd win of the season at the hands of the Besaid Butt Plugs, advancing to 2-4. The Butt Plugs, meanwhile, suffer their 3rd straight loss, falling to 3-3. Will ownership decide changes are in store for this week? And lastly, the Callow Klux clan cemented this week as being the opposite of Week 1, taking down Bondage and Servitude in a nail-biter matchup. The win ensures an exciting race to the finish line as both teams now stand tied at 4-2 and are also currently tied in tiebreakers.
Tieception.
It's very much tieception. So
I checked last night and I had beat you 7-6.
yeah, it was like all 3 games by 1, I think. So currently the standings are dead heat first place. We got Bondage and Servitude in the Callow Klux clan at 4-2. Besaid Butt Plugs are in 3rd place, holding the tiebreaker over 4th place Henger's Crucible. And Titans Banana Hammocks are in 5th place, holding the tiebreaker over the Mordian Jailbirds. This week on the waiver wire, we've got Furion, Cloud, who is still not available for comment, Dark Knight Cecil, Necron, Cloud of Darkness from FF3, Tella, Reem, Celis, Saj, and Lena.
What was that last one? Reem?
Reem.
Are you sure?
Reem?
Are you sure it's not Realm?
Reem?
Oh, God. My bad. Realm. Wow. Wow. Woo.
That's
bad.
That's Freudian, I think.
I'm actually curious about the pronunciation of that second to last one. Saz, I think you said?
Zaz?
Zaz? That sounds right. Zaz sounds right.
Okay. I thought it was Saz.
I think it.
It is Zaz.
Is it Zaz?
Zaz?
I don't know.
Do they say his name in that game at any point?
Yes,
They ignore
they
most of
always
it.
A lot, yeah.
This is bullshit.
All right. On the waiver order, we got Nika, Juxta, Callow, Aniro, Papa Woody, and Escalia rounding it out. And that's what's going on in the FFFL, guys.
Alrighty, thank you.
Do you happen to have the matchups for this coming week on hand?
I will have them to you before the end of the show. I don't have them written down right now. They're the same as week 2.
We have to make it up as we go along.
No, they're the same as week 2.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, well, there you go. There's the FFFL. FFFL.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Kalos clan shall reign supreme.
I don't need to hear about the KLK supremacy.
It's a good thing that there's not a webcam up right now.
Why?
Arigato, racist.
Because I don't have pants on, Escalia. That's why.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something racist.
Well, you normally don't have pants when you're in the studio either.
No,
we just
I
don't
do.
say
Juxta
anything.
doesn't wear pants.
We just
Why?
don't
Did you
say.
see some old black lady sitting in the front of a bus?
Oh my God.
You have to be, you know, Juxta, you got to be really careful with those, because there are some people out there who have no idea what drops are.
Clearly.
Oh my gosh.
And who can't easily identify South Park characters when they hear them.
Would you relax?
Holy shit. I can't believe that I actually wasted time on Twitter arguing with someone who pulled out the pronoun card on me.
That is so stupid.
And then when I asked them to cite it, they cited a drop. Ugh.
Why do you even bother?
Ugh.
Living.
Seriously. Anyway, all right. Let's check out some FF14 news.
This is a limit-breaking news update.
All right. There we've got the free login campaign that is going on right now. In fact, it's going on from the 14th till April 13th. And during that time, you get up to 96 free hours of hanging out in Eorzea.
Now, is that like cumulative, or is that like, okay, you log in at hour 1, and then for the next 96, those are free, but after that 100th hour, you're fucked?
I think it's cumulative.
I would assume.
That's a long time.
96. Yeah, you can clear like the whole game. You're good. If you want to get your FF14 in, go ahead and grind it out.
There's no level cap on that either?
Well, it says
Is that sarcasm?
It says you get 4 days, including the day on which users first log in. This period ends on the 4th day at 11:59 p.m. So no,
Never mind. That's not cumulative.
It's
yeah.
not cumulative. No, it's
That makes more sense.
All right, get your poop socks out, and then you can clear the game.
There you go. No, seriously, make sure that if your sub has lapsed, that you take advantage of this. Now is a really good time. If you're curious about the feast, if you're curious about 3.2, and if it's worth coming back for, and trust me, it is, then take advantage of the 4 free days that Square Enix is giving you. So we've also had the Hatching Tide event start. Started Tuesday, March 15th, and goes until Monday, March 28th.
This is some really exciting events going on right now.
Yeah, there's things with eggs.
Plus, there is a song you can only get from doing the event.
Who cares?
Which song is it, Mr. Landers?
Papaya pa. And I make sure that that's playing all the time in our estate house, and I'm pretty sure that my benefactor is going to kick me out before we get a house for us to move into.
That actually sounds fair. I'm totally...
Callow's going to be looking for someone to room with for a few weeks while he's in between places.
Yeah. So we also had a small ninja patch that Square Enix put up on the 17th.
Oh, that's so gay.
Did they buff us?
No, not a ninja patch, but we didn't know.
That's gay.
We didn't know it was coming.
Oh, you mean they just snuck a patch in?
Yes, that's right. Patch 3.22. We got a whole bunch of feast updates and PvP updates.
Oh, that's that big summoner nerf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, something's got fucked.
Yeah. So let's see. The following adjustments have been made to reduce the length of matches and hasten the flow of battle. The time limit of the 4-on-4 and the 8-on-8 matches has been reduced from 10 to 8 minutes. The amount of time that must elapse before players are affected by calling time during 8-on-8 matches has been reduced. The number of medals held before being afflicted by heavy metal status and the potency of the accompanying vulnerability up has been adjusted. 150 medals will land you at 1 penalty incurred and 15%, and it increases at 15% intervals as you go up, and you've got intervals that are 170, 190, 200, 210. If you want to see the chart, it is at the Lodestone, and we'll have a link at our website, limitbreakradio.com.
Speaking of the feast, guys, I actually got put into one where the opposing team had 2 summoners. The match was over in under a minute. I'm sure that this team. I don't know. It was so bad. Like, it was so bad. I think we had 200 medals when they hit 1,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez. The following adjustments have been made to all PvP encounters in order to improve the usability and playability of healers and ranged magic DPS classes and jobs in PvP encounters. The following adjustments have been made. Spellcasting will now be interrupted after players have received a certain amount of damage. Has anyone experienced this? Is this
it's about 15% of your total HP.
Is this a good thing? I mean,
it's good for casters.
Yeah, it seems like it.
You really don't notice it, actually. I went again on White Mage and got completely obliterated. I'm not doing that ever again.
Well, keep in mind that there is also a bug right now where if you are like pets, Garuda pets, Ifrit pets, they automatically interrupt you 100% of the time. So. Yep. So, I mean...
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
I feel like this just makes healers even more strong in PvP, and then healers didn't need to be more strong in PvP, because they're already basically unkillable anyway, so I don't know. I'm a little salty about that.
Let's see. There have been some adjustments to actions. The following adjustments have been made to reduce the burst damage of summoner in PvP encounters. Miasma, Bio 2, Tribind, Flare and Death Flare all got adjustments. Let's see. Pain Flare got knocked down from 200 to 150. Death Flare got knocked down from 400 to 300. And then the rest of those are just duration adjustments. But
lick my balls.
That hurts.
Well, I mean, Summoner's been stupid good in PvP
they have,
for how long now?
I mean, you're right. Something needed to be done, but God damn, dude, that just yikes. In order to improve the playability of ranged physical DPS jobs in PvP encounters, the following adjustments have been made. Wanderer's Minuet for Bard, when the skill is active, damage will no longer be reduced when standing within 15 yalms of a target. And for Machinist, Gauss Barrel was adjusted, and it's got the same adjustment that when the skill is active, damage will no longer be reduced when standing within 15 yalms of a target. So that was that. That's the distance requirement you were talking about last week,
which is good because
there's a way to get around it.
Yeah, but those are the abilities that make you say to stand and cast arrow.
That's right. And for Machinist, it makes sure all your jobs like casting.
Exactly.
Or job abilities. Yeah.
So yeah, basically now instead of like being like penalized for being able to move but not being able to move, now they're just normal casters.
Wow.
Which is good.
Okay. All right. I mean, they
deserve that.
Yeah, that seems...
It makes sense in PvP.
Yeah. Let's see. The following adjustment has been made to the raise status for PvP encounters, anticipation for the automatic respawn function, which will be implemented in patch 3.25. The duration has been reduced from 60 to 10 seconds. So, there you go.
Sure.
What do you... Yeah, you're not raising that much, are you?
Right, you don't want to. You're wasting MP and time.
Yeah.
You're usually just throwing out.
And plus, when you use raise, that actually puts that weakness debuff on your teammates, which isn't really a good idea.
No.
Because then somebody gets hit once and they're dead again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's because it's not like you steal the kill away from somebody.
Right. They're dead.
Yeah.
They drop their medals, and now you raise them up, and they have little HP and a debuff.
Even in other PvP, it doesn't really
help
make
their
sense.
kill.
Mm-hmm.
That kill score up there.
Yeah.
It makes you the best player on the other team.
And then an issue has been addressed wherein a player would be flagged as being defeated by a party member if KO'd by damage over time, while also under the effect of healing over time. So,
that's funny.
So what? It would credit the healer?
Yeah. So Papa Woody would get credit for killing Kahlo if Scalia's DOT killed him.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, there you go. So that's the entirety of patch 3.22. I'd say that most of those are pretty fair. I'm sure that summoners are pretty salty about it.
In my opinion, they really didn't need to reduce the duration of the summoner DOTs.
No.
Because the biggest problem with Summoner was that big wombo combo
that big
burst,
damage spike, yeah.
Which got heavily nerfed. So
Yeah.
Someone in chat here, Karolki's saying that they thought there wasn't res sickness in the feast.
Are you sure?
I have no idea.
Because they have PvP raising abilities, which don't put the weakness on there. But if you use the skill raise, I'm pretty sure there is.
Oh, maybe that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I could be mistaken, though.
And then the final bit of news here that we've got is we've got an update for live producer letter number 28. The date has been officially set. That's Saturday, March 26, 2016 at 3 a.m. Pacific. And they've got links to the YouTube Live, Nico, and Twitch pages where all that is going down. Yoshi P will be answering questions taken from the official forums. If you want to submit a question, there is a designated forum which they've linked over on the Lodestone, but we'll also have a link to it at our website, limitbreakradio.com.
I'm sure they're going to be the kinds of hard-hitting questions that we all want answers to.
Yes, of course. It's all. It'll also be possible to ask questions during the live stream. To do so, please follow the official Twitter account at FF_XIV_EN and send tweets containing the XIV Live hashtag. And the themes will include exploring patch 3.2 questions for Hiroshi Minagawa. That's the UI team's lead artist, and he'll be answering questions relating to the game's UI design.
Ooh, how exciting.
Those aren't real themes.
UI design.
So if you want, try to submit your questions, see if a good one gets through. They rarely do. I feel like the last time we covered a live letter like that, it was like all bitching about how stupid the questions were.
Maybe because the questions were stupid.
You're not wrong.
The questions were intensely stupid, and it makes you wonder why they select those stupid questions.
Hold on, because I don't think it was necessarily a live letter where they did that, but I think we had a Famitsu article where they did an interview based on questions they took from the forum, and that's where we got a lot of that cool input about what goes into designing raids and how they test out those raids.
You're right, though. But that's I kind of expect that kind of I don't know, transparency with an interview like that, especially.
It is all going to be shitty stuff. I definitely agree with you, but there's a chance one or two good ones might sneak through.
And then, of course, we want to remind you about the music contest that's going on. That's going on until April 11th. So make sure that you get your submissions in. I've heard from a couple of people.
There is two new
I've heard from a few notable folks in the remixing scene that have given us a bit of a preview, but I don't want to spoil it for them. I don't want to play it on the show. Be mean.
So you're basically just like, yeah, we got sneak peeks, but y'all can't hear.
That's right.
This is bullshit.
Stuff to get excited for, let me tell you. It's really good. Anyway, all right. So, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. There was another piece of news that went around this week that really, it's important for video games overall, and it's definitely something that we'll talk more about on Final Encountercast on our next episode. But it also directly impacts Final Fantasy XIV. Microsoft recently put out some statements and said that they're looking into cross-platform connectivity between specifically, Microsoft, Xbox One games and PC games, and they've also kind of extended the olive branch and said that they wouldn't mind including Sony in that as well.
Mind blown.
Sony has responded in kind, saying that they've been doing it ever since Final Fantasy XI, and that of course they would be open to doing it. So it looks like we're stepping into a new era in gaming, because this whole idea of platform exclusivity or platform locking the multiplayer was actually a big driving decision factor on a lot of hardware that people would buy.
Oh yeah.
And maybe not for people our age. We're all pretty late in our 20s, early in our 30s. But I think especially, shut up. Nobody cares, Woody. Nobody cares. But especially for younger folks, I think whatever system their friends are getting and playing online on was a big factor for whatever system they would end up purchasing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we want to be able to play with your friends.
Exactly. Yeah. And this breaks down that barrier and just really kind of allows people to get whatever hardware they want to get, which is, I think, a really nice. I mean, given how interconnected every device we have is with every other device that we have, it seems ridiculous that one game console can't play the exact same title online with another game console.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so happy.
There is a long music tail on that, and I don't understand why.
I like it.
So I just. It's made a lot of people in the FF14 community go, okay, well, there was some stuff with Microsoft and Square Enix about why they couldn't get FF14 onto Xbox One, and it seems like this is another barrier that has been broken down for that to happen. And so I just kind of want to put it out there, what do you guys think? When FF11 got Xbox 360 players, I knew, I was like, oh God, here we go. The dunes are going to be flooded with newbies, and you're going to have to answer all those questions. But really, when I look back on it, it added probably about 3 years to the lifespan of that game.
It was a needed and healthy infusion of players.
Absolutely. And I think that, first of all, do you guys think that if they put FF14 on Xbox One, do you think that it would significant amounts of players, new players, would start playing?
Oh yeah. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
You think?
No.
Look, I know a bunch of people who are huge into gaming, but it is specifically on their Xbox or their PlayStation. So they would never even contemplate touching PC games. There's especially one kid that I work with. He's like a total Xbox fanboy, right? No PC whatsoever. I don't necessarily know if he would necessarily play Final Fantasy 14, but I think that there are a lot of people out there who would, or even kids nowadays who have the family computer. They might not be able to dedicate as much time to playing an MMORPG because it's a family computer and you don't get as much time with all the other people on it.
Got a good point.
But if you could get it on your console, then absolutely.
That's that's interesting. I mean,
I don't think it'll be as impactful as it was with 11, but I think it still will have a big effect.
Because that was a big deal, because that was literally, I think, the only MMO that you could get on an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So you had a huge crossover audience there of not just people who want to play a Final Fantasy game on their 360, but people who also want to play an MMO on their 360.
Even beyond that, there was always the problem with 11 that it was such a drag on PC hardware that for a lot of people, being able to play it on a console was a cheaper alternative, because even late into its development cycle, 11 was brutal on your hardware.
Yep. I actually started on the PlayStation or the PlayStation 2 with Final Fantasy 14.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or 11.
11, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, do you think that FF14 suffers from the same thing? I mean, FF14 is a good-looking game, but I don't think you need top-tier hardware to be able to run it.
And
I mean, to be able to run it well, sure. But
and mid-core hardware isn't nearly as expensive as it once was.
It's not.
So I think it's much more accessible on PC than 11 was.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't think it'll have as much of impact. But it's still going to bring in a lot of people who just, hey, they want to play on their Xbox Ones. They don't want to get at their computer.
There's also way less barriers for entry now with PC gaming. I mean, with Windows 7 and the stabilization of hardware and like drivers becoming really standardized across a whole bunch of video cards, you've really worked a lot of those kinks out that 11 ran into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing is I sort of feel like anyone who was remotely interested in this game probably would have tried it by now. And I'm kind of wondering if just putting it on the 360, I mean, yes, it does open up a whole new platform of hardware, but how many people realistically do you think it'll pick up?
I think who you're getting is the people who don't, like Calla said, people who don't play on PC. Like people who don't play PC games. That's who you're getting. So if it's that demographic of people who have an Xbox One and that's their only system, that might be the demographic you're getting. For better or for worse.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. That's fair. So a lot of people, and maybe this is just a perception and in circles that I dwell, but a lot of people like label Xbox gamers as a specific type of person.
What are you trying to say, Nero?
That they're fucking 14-year-old racist children.
I say males 10 to 16.
And racist. No, I'm kidding.
Specifically the racist.
No, I don't know what it is about Xbox and white supremacy. It just kind of goes hand in hand. It's weird.
Racist teenagers online are gonna butt ram me.
Exactly.
Calla, is your team sponsored by Microsoft?
Yeah.
It is not, but I am sitting here looking at
we all know
Warfare 3 Special Edition.
Well, we all know based on GDC that they're sexist as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Hiring strippers. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, because anyone took off their clothes there. Anyway, so no, I don't like. Do you guys think that the demographic of Xbox players matters? Does it matter at all?
Maybe not, because the thing is, like, if it does come out on Xbox, obviously they're going to start pushing an advertising campaign for the fact that it's now out on Xbox.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So is it going to be like super impactful? Are we going to see as big of a jump as we did when it came to the 11 one? I don't know. I think it's hard to say, but I definitely think that it is going to be a positive increase to the population. I mean, not having it on Xbox and having it, there's obviously a huge difference between those two, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be, like, if you're going to, like, compare it to something else, it's not going to be as impactful as Heaven's Ward was. We saw a huge surge in Heaven's Ward.
Of course not.
It's not going to be nearly what 11 saw. Like, when 11's time came around for Xbox 360 support, remember, it also came with the level sync system and all those other things, all the quality of life things they were trying to do to make the game viable for another generation of players.
You know, actually, that's kind of a good point.
All that happened right at that time.
Yeah,
and that's why you saw that huge influx of players not only coming to the game, but coming back to the game.
Well, because, I mean, Square Enix has a bit of a population problem, and the populations have been dipping since 3.0. I don't know that they've entirely rebounded since 3.2. Some people have come back, but, you know, they've got to figure out what to do to get this game in the hands of more people. And, you know, outside of making the client so that it runs on more hardware, what else can you do besides putting it on a whole different console, you know? So I think it would be smart for Square Enix if they went ahead and did it. A lot of people keep talking about the Xbox Gold and whether or not that would play a factor in, you know, like the end price point and whether that would turn people off or, I don't know. It's a lot of people have just been talking about FF14 coming to Xbox One. I think it would be great if it happened, but you think it's a realistic?
Honestly, so long as we don't have to worry about Xbox One limitations in the future, I'm fine with it.
No, it seems like hardware is pretty flexible these days, as we just got done explaining. So
I would hope SE's not depending on this for anything, because I don't this is just gonna be a nice little thing. Like, you'll get some new people in, but yeah, I'm here with the Xbox One. And everyone else will be like, great, it's easy. Have fun.
Does it include? Well, are there any limitations that would come along with it? Do you think? I mean, I feel like the hardware is good enough to run the client just fine. I don't think it would come along with any limitations. The hard drive size is way big enough to accommodate.
The only thing that I can think of that might limit would be forcing you to use an Xbox Gold membership, because don't you have to have that to play any online game on Xbox?
No. You do not need it to play any online game on Xbox. You didn't need it for 11 because I never had Xbox Gold.
Yeah, you didn't need it for 11, but 11 was the only game that was like that.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why I brought up...
Do you have to have a PSN to be able to play 14 on PS4?
No.
Well, PSN is free, but their premium service is PlayStation is PlayStation Plus. You just get free games from that. It has nothing to do with
Yeah, and Xbox Gold is the same way. They give out games, too. So I feel like you wouldn't think there would be that many people out there who would need to get Gold just for playing FF Online, if it even required it.
Cecile in the chat says FF14 on Nintendo NX.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't we just port 14 to the Wii U for me?
Come on, let's not get carried away here now.
Come on, let's not get crazy.
You know what SC's going to say now? Now we have 6 million people playing.
Yeah, all those Xbox people, and then the 2 people that own the NX.
Fight me, bro. Fight me.
If you want to call up and give your opinions about the possibility of FF14 landing on Xbox or even Nintendo hardware, you can give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype or 810-515-8715. If you want to call in on Discord, limitbreakradio.com/Discord is how you get that done. So, Kookie I didn't get any messages from Kookie. I don't think we had anyone.
I don't think so. I don't got none.
I hope she's okay.
Kookie's fine. We've been chatting.
Okay. All right, great.
I told her that
stop
8 people.
chatting to Kookie and let her do her job, Juxta.
Yeah.
Unless you want calls back, is that what you want?
No.
Okay, then.
That was the most meek Juxta has ever sounded.
No, I don't want that.
No, I don't want that. All right. So let's consider the future of Heaven's Word. We've got a couple of more patches to get through. We just wrapped up what is arguably most of 3.2. We've got another sliver of content with 3.2, which would be 3.25.
Which should be the next relic quest.
Yes, which should be the next relic advancement. So there's that, and that'll finish out the rest of 3.2. But considering 3.3 and then beyond 3.3, and what will lead us into eventually 4.0, we just based on what we got with 2.x to 2.5, I think that we can pretty much do a reasonable extrapolation of what we can expect through the tail end of Heaven's Word. So why don't we talk about that?
Well, I think it's been interesting because obviously when we look back in 2.0, there was a pretty steady rise as far as content went, as far as story went. They seem to have been upping the ante, so to speak, each time, right? I don't think that we had too many complaints in relation in 2.0. There was a
bit as we've moved through 3.1 and people have drawn some of the narrative and content parallels to 2.1. I think that 2.1 was actually we did have a very much of a slow burn build up to what we eventually ended up getting in, say, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5, which were a lot of action, a lot of movement, and we pretty much had worked ourselves into a pattern of what we could establish with the content, but then we got some really great narrative chunks that pushed that I think really pushed that content from good to great.
compared to what we've had in 3.0, though, I mean, obviously the release of Heaven's Ward was phenomenal. I mean, everyone loved the story and everything that was added. But then up until now, a lot of what we've been getting in patches, it was like, all right, yeah, this is cool, but is that all?
Right.
And it's kind of seemed like it's been a little bit of a rocky rise after the release of Heaven's Ward with 3.1 and, what was in between there. And now that we're just now getting to 3.2, we finally feel like, between... Well, I guess you guys don't really think so in the story, but at least with the way that Midas has turned out in comparison to Gordius, we finally feel like they've started to step up their game a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I agree. And it's it is hard to think back to the 2.1 patch because I think at that point, we were so much more forgiving because 2.0 was so good.
That's true. What did we have to really compare it to? 1.0?
Right. Yeah, exactly. God. Exactly. But when you throw 3.0 in there and the expectations were so high coming off that patch that we were just like, I think it did. I think it did set our expectations a little bit high. But at the same point, 3.1 was a bit of a letdown. Not only because we had that 7-week delay. That was a big part of it, though.
I think that's the bulk of it. Because when you hear a delay, you expect it to be worth it, and then when it's little and it comes up short, you're just like, ugh.
Do you think though? I mean, even in my mind, the 7-week delay, is it even a factor? I don't even remember that's delay.
Are you kidding me? Dude, you were the one who was counting it down every week.
I know, and that's what I'm saying is I actually forgot that there was a delay from to 3.1, and I just remember how lackluster 3.1 was, even in spite of or in addition to the delay. But when I think of 3.1, I don't think 7-week delay and shit patch. I just think lackluster patch. I completely forgot about the delay.
Yeah, but the thing is though is that I think for a lot of people who left in that period, who bailed in that period, that it has a bit of an opposite effect where they go, "Oh, Heaven's Word stunk."
Right.
You know what I mean? Where when they look at it, they, because that's 6 months. That was 6 months, almost no good content. You know what I mean?
True.
That was from Heaven's Word from Heaven's Word to 3.2. Remember how quickly you got through the Heaven's Word stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly,
3.2 was more than 6 months. It was 9 months, 8 months almost.
I think that's the biggest part of it. It's
but you had
that when it comes out, it's like, oh, it sucks. You wait that long, and then when it comes out, even if it was good, there was so little there that you finish it within 3 weeks times, and it's like, oh, I'm back to waiting again.
Yeah. Well, I'm giving them the benefit of 3 months there because it did take some time to work through 3.0, right? And then once you're to the end of that, you're like, oh, there's nothing to do. You get 3.1, and it's like, oh, there's still really not that much to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a kooky and it takes you 6 months to get through the story, then it's only going to be a 2 or 3 month wait or week wait. You're right.
So, I mean, if we look at the spread of content, because now as we've gone through 2 patch cycles, we basically have the outline of what we can expect moving forward for all the way to what would ostensibly be 3.55.
Fuck that. I don't want to know exactly what the patch is going to entail before we're even done with Heaven's Ward.
I mean, we can pretty much lay it out, can't we?
Oh, well, okay, but to be fair, I mean, yeah, Jux, I get where you're coming from, obviously, but at the same time, I think that's not really something you can necessarily be mad at because you know we're going to be getting another Alex Wing. We're going to be getting 2 more chapters to the Void Arc story. I mean, those are so huge and generalized. Are you really so upset because those are coming?
Well, I know that Alexander Daughter is going to have 4 bosses in square rooms and or circle rooms, and I know that Void Arc is going to be a face roll with bosses
and trash
squares.
packs,
and a couple trash packs, maybe 4 total.
But we don't know where the Void Arc is going to be next.
Okay, well, that's the story, which is fine. But I'm saying, in terms of content, we kind of know how we're going to go.
We know literally everything from now to 3.5.
The only question mark we have right now is, are they going to expand the diadem into something more than just Dynamis?
Yes. I think
Skynimus.
You're right. I think that is
Kahlo TM.
Fuck off. That I think you're right. No, I think you're right. I think that is legitimately the only question mark right now is what are they going to end up doing with Skynimus?
Oh, isn't that so awful? Like, remember back in the day when we were like talking about the airships and be like, oh, what I wonder what it's going to be like. We're going to go to islands and stuff, and
they're just giant
and just like the random speculation that we have, but now we know what we're gonna get.
Yeah,
isn't
you're
that
right.
the problem with rampant speculation?
Yeah, there's nothing to really speculate about. I mean, we know what's going to come from Alexander. The question is it going to be good? Is the writing going to be good? Or is it going to be boring and bad? And the same thing goes for both of the Void arcs.
What the fuck? I hate this. Shit.
I mean, you're right. That's so fucked. The only thing I have hope for is please be good stories. Please be good writing. Please be awesome cutscenes.
What did we have in 2.0 at this point? We're basically wondering, like, what's the next Primal going to be?
Primals were a question mark. They could have done literally anything with Binding Coil.
That's the thing. Like in 2.0, like I was thinking about this earlier today. We were thinking after Ultima Hard Mode came out, that like set the precedence. Be like, oh man, I can't wait for the Gilgamesh EX fight. It's gonna be so crazy. And then we never got it.
Yeah, that's right.
We never got like any of those extended fights of like things that would be awesome, like Ultros or Gilgamesh or like any of the other Primal, or not Primal, but the trial fight.
But even making those extremes wouldn't have necessarily. I mean, that's still following the same pattern. And when you make a fight into an extreme fight, I think very rarely has it actually been really, really fun and seemed like a whole new fight. I mean, Ultima, that was real good. Thornton EX was. But, I mean, what's the big difference between, like, a lot of the Primal fights? I mean, those were never really, heralded as, like, oh, yes, this X fight is so amazing. I mean, look at Bismarck and look at Ravana, Juxie. You still have barely even stepped into those because you don't give a crap.
That's true.
Why would you? Why would you at this point? For birds? If you want those birds,
Thor
sure,
Carson,
I guess.
So Thor Carson can steal the fucking bird from you? That's why. Guys, I rolled a 75. I beat everybody but him with his stupid 97. Fuck you, Irishman.
Can we not call them birds? I mean, we have horses.
Or cock.
They can be cocks now.
All right, they're cocks now.
Whatever.
You ride your red glowing cock, Thor.
Your throbbing red glowing cock.
Gay!
Did I hear a girl laughing in the background there? Do you guys have girls there?
No.
I wish.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
do you think this is, a Microsoft event?
That was a really good one.
Good.
I give you props for that one, Aniro.
Thank you.
Woody has a very feminine laugh, then. Let him know that.
I'm jealous.
Oh, so I mean, there's a bit of monotony setting in. I think here's the thing. Here's what here's what I take a bit of solace in is that at least the mechanically fights are getting fun.
Yes.
That's one thing.
You know what? Props to Square Enix, because even like we're 3, 4, 5 weeks in. I can't remember at this point, but I actually am looking forward to going back and getting grinding out the cranks and springs and all that shit.
Yeah,
and
I like doing it every week. It's pretty fun.
You know what helps though is that we bring in like an army of our minions, so it's not just with crazy randos.
Not even that. Because in fucking Gortys, I was like, I hated it. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this 800 fucking times in a row.
Did you go in with our minions?
Yeah, it was still just painfully unfun.
Yeah, well, those fights, I think, were just unfun.
That's what I mean. Is the fights were just not interesting at all.
No, I hear you.
You are right, though. Like, they have really stepped up their game in how their fights are playing out, which is like the opposite trend of 2.0, where I feel like things started kind of getting more monotonous the further we got into 2.0.
Yeah. No, you are not wrong there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that. So, I mean, so where are we at? I mean, is it only predictable shit from here on out, is there any? I mean, they've got opportunities with the Warring Triad, but I feel like those have just really supplanted EX fights. They're circle arena fights. That's it.
That's what they need to break next. Okay, yeah, sure. They've started to make the fights a little bit more fun, and I think that it doesn't just necessarily go into the mechanics. I think overall, like when you're looking at the entire raid as like just one big like masterpiece, so to say, like that first fight with Twinkle Dicks and how he's like this mad scientist sort of thing, and you got the giant syringes, like that's fun.
I'm getting
too.
an extremely gay vibe.
When you go in to do that fight, like the whole thing is set up and aesthetically it's fun. The whole like Voltron / Power Ranger motif that they have going on, and the fucking balls rolling around in the third one with the little the pussy and the balls. Like that whole raid is just fun, from the mechanics all the way up to the aesthetics, and that's something that they have to keep in mind going forward as well. And the other thing too, when this expansion first came out and we talked about how they need to start changing stuff up, and like now's the time to do it, to rework the way that the raid environment and the rewards and the expectations are. If you want to try and teach an entire game population a different way, you have to start it like at the beginning when there's this big new influx. And I know that now we're like, oh shit, they didn't do that, so we're kind of fucked. But at least with the way that they're designing the actual raid encounters, they don't have to wait for a new expansion to do that. If they wanted to...
No, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, if they wanted to give us like a whole new experience without just a circle fucking room, like if they wanted to give us something with like multiple levels and like switches that you had to hit, like imagine something like what we have in the Feast, like an arena like that, where you're DPSing ads that go and like hide from you. You have to get switches that are hidden places. That would make a really fun and interesting fight. Sure.
And here's something that I actually didn't really consider before, going back to the Xbox conversation. If Square Enix did decide to put FF14 on the Xbox, do you think that they could possibly use that as a justification to continue to pump out low and mid-core content in the same way that they have been? Right?
Come on. I mean, tinfoil hatting.
Am I being too cynical here? Like, am I being?
Yeah, I think so, because I feel like Xbox people is gonna have the same ratio of casual people to hardcore people.
Well, no, but the thing is what I'm saying is like, even with Heaven's Word, there was still a consideration of new players coming in, and I really think at 4.0 that what they have to do is they're going to have to refocus their content to not have content for only content that literally everyone can do as long as you're at level cap.
You want something to engage the new people as they're leveling up.
No, not even that. Not even that. They need to have a greater focus on mid-core and hardcore content, because just having 4 fights at your end game isn't enough, right? Like, if you think about TOAU, if you think about Treasures, the FF11 expansion, that's really when Square Enix shifted the focus for FF11 from supporting the people who are just coming in. They said, okay, that part of the game is built. It's good. We don't need to really make that many quality of life adjustments for people who are leveling, because there aren't that many people leveling in the dunes. So we're going to take this entire expansion and focus it solely on stuff you can do at 75.
Right.
And that's sort of what FF14 needs at this point, is they need the same content focus of stuff that you can do at level cap, but not just like ubiquitous dick rolly keyboard shit. You know what I mean? Like,
can you make that sound again for us?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the noise when I make when I take my dick out and roll it on the keyboard. Anyway, let's go to our phone lines. We've got Fusion. What's going on, Fusion?
I'm really glad you guys aren't showing like studio cams if you're rolling your dick around on your keyboard.
I know. Twitch doesn't like that.
It's really awkward, actually.
I know.
The real reason I'm not in studio anymore.
No, don't flash back! They keep sending us emails about it, and we figured like, okay, we should probably knock that off. Anyway, hey, what's up, man? By the way, congratulations. We said congratulations on your engagement at the beginning of the show because it slipped my mind for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, thanks for calling in, man.
Oh, God, you're such an asshole.
I know, I am. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about a little bit of Xbox stuff.
Yeah, we're right on the subject, so yeah.
I was thinking 4.0 would be a good time to do that. I mean, if you think back to 11, that came out right when Outer Gone hit. We're a couple of, this will be the second expand. Well, depending on, it's like 1.0, 2.0. So this would be kind of right in line with that for 14. And, you'll get a big influx of players because you'll see a whole bunch of people getting into the expansion. And it's not going to be story gated like Heaven's Word. So that'll allow more people to get into that new content.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think 4.0 would be the perfect time to look at launching that. I mean, it wouldn't make sense in the middle of a patch, but yeah, would they have to construct at least a portion of 4.0 for new players, do you think? Or I see, because I feel between stuff like Stone Sky and Sea and the what is it, the beginners hall, that they've really shored up the beginning and leveling focus of this game. And if they were to now shift focus to stuff that you could do at a mid-core base or like a hardcore endgame base, that would probably be more in line with supporting their population of people playing the game. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I haven't made a new character or whatever since like Novice Hall came out, for example. So I don't know, like, does the game guide you there now? Because that would make a lot of sense.
I don't think
because I can remember back into 11 when they added a whole bunch of newbie stuff and they redid a whole bunch of earlier stuff that would it was almost like a tutorial, and it would actually tell people how to play the game back in 2006 when we were all had our heads up our asses trying to figure out how to heal or whatever. It was
right.
It's a lot more hand-holding now, but I don't know if it guides you into like Hall of the Novice or anything like that now. I mean, it should.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it must, because the first dungeon you go to is Sestasha, which is right there. So all that they have to do is, just be like, oh, hey, before you go in here and take out these pirates, you look like you might want to brush up on some of your skills. Go over to the Novice Hall, and you can also access it from like the innkeepers, can't you?
A bunch of people in the chat piping up now saying that it does in fact funnel you to into that. So yeah, I mean,
as it should.
Yeah, it should, and I think and again, they have supported. It's not like what they've added has been more stuff to leveling, but they have only really supported just stuff you can do when you hit that level cap, right? It's just like the dungeons and the void arcs, like that stuff that anyone can do. And I sort of feel like if they put more systems in there that have long-term rewards and that are fully fleshed out right from the get-go, I'd like to see some raids or some systems that are built ready to go when they are introduced, and they're not expanded over patches, right? So you've got the reward, and you can be working on the reward for the entirety of that patch, much like we had assaults right out of the gate for Treasures of Outer-Gone. Much like
I loved assaults.
And those systems, because Square Enix is really great about this, not just with Final Fantasy XI, but with literally like all of their modern Final Fantasy games, taking those systems and tying them into one another so that participation in one is a requirement for another, and it encourages participation in multiple endgame systems. So that's, to me, what would be the most engaging, and I think what Square Enix would stand to benefit the most from supporting of their standing community right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think something else to consider too, and this is the big, like, I feel really bad for the scenario writers and the localization team right now, because if you don't have 4.0 story gated, how do you have it to where it's like, all right, like I just picked up 14 and I'm immediately going to go into like 4.0? Like, how do you do that, right? From like a story perspective or a content perspective, especially since, we're going to be expecting the level cap to go up again, but you may not have necessarily picked up Heaven's Word yet or completed, the Realm Reborn main scenario or whatever. Right. So you may not be 50 when you get into that. So that's a big, how do you weave all that together?
There's one thing about having like a level requirement. There's nothing about having the story requirement. With Heaven's Ward, literally the 2.0 storyline built into Heaven's Ward. Like, it ends with you guys leaving as refugees and going to Ishgard, and that's why you go there. But you look at all the 11 expansions, you didn't have to have done the prior one to be able to do it. It was just a different story that was picking up somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's part of that though too is if you look at the cast of characters that you deal with, like all the scions, those are really weaved into the story too. Whereas with 11, it's like, okay, every so often you see Sid, every so often you see Sar Sybil. They weren't like always there the whole time, but with these other characters, they're really woven into the storyline, and so that makes it even harder.
And I actually think that that's one of FF14's advantages, is that having this very interconnected story that builds the entire time, it builds with your character, it gives you a sense of being more connected to the story, to the events, and to your character. It builds with the entire game. And so I think the narrative concept of the game is a core concept. And if they if they decided to storygate again, which I know that
they already said they wouldn't, because there was such an outcry from reviewers in NA when Heaven's Word came out that they're like, all right, we won't do that for 4.0, because every review you would read was just people pissed off about the story gating.
Good, let them.
Well, those noobs need to get good then.
Let them be pissed. Like, that's the thing. I mean, I think in the end, Square Enix is going to make whatever decision is going to be best for the story and for the game. And if that means gating the story again, they'll do it. I mean, I know that they said that they don't want to, but they'll do whatever they need to maintain the story, I believe.
The only person that's going to be missing out if they decide not to gate the content is the new people coming in, okay? Because it's easy enough to just throw up a breadcrumb quest. I mean, all right, look. I think it's a pretty common theory right now that 4.0 is going to take us to Alamigo and to help retake Alamigo, okay? So how easy is it, like, once you hit the level cap or once, wherever it is that you start, to just have a breadcrumb quest where, like, some rebel has came to your home city and, has heard of the Hero of Light and wants you to come and aid them. So the only thing you're going to miss out on is, the character development of the Scions and, any kind of extra stuff that you have from doing the MSQs in Heaven's Ward and the original. So anyone who just decides to just go right into 4.0, it's their fucking loss.
Well, wait, I think what they could do if they really wanted to hold to that is, like Escalia had mentioned, separate that narrative. I mean, yes, have it tie in, but also have it so that you don't maybe need all of the prior knowledge to be able to pick up on it.
What you have to realize is this is what WoW's been doing for fucking ever.
Because WoW is always the best way to do it.
Well, no, it's not necessarily the best way, obviously, but it is doable. I think the only thing that would be hard to do is, like you said, if it's someone who's just now starting up and they're a level 1 character, are they going to be able to just go and jump right into the MSQ at Alamigo? Because you should have to be max level by that point, you would think.
Yeah.
See,
what they could do, and actually this is something that I think all players would be able to appreciate, and something that they haven't done yet, is make a new starting area with Alamigo. And then that way, if you pick any of, like, let's say they come out with 2 new classes when they come out with 4.0, right? That are from Alamigo. And so you can actually start there, and, that you could then put in, like maybe 2 or 3 new zones that gets you to like the level 20, level 30 area. And then that could, usher you back over into like the Eorzean zones. And that could kind of help push you into, let's say, the MSQs, start around like level 30 or 40, right?
Well, they would have to connect Alamigo to East Shroud in some way.
Well, you couldn't even do that from a story perspective. I mean, I can remember back when Ottergon came out and people were like, oh my god, maybe we can affiliate with Ottergon. You could probably affiliate with Alamigo in an underground stance, But right now, it's in control of the Empire.
Yeah,
like that's going to be the big thing. I think at the end of 3.x, we're gonna get Omega, and Gaius is gonna come back, and it's gonna be just like all Garlemald again.
Yeah, I know.
Because they've just been kind of sitting on their asses on the sidelines this whole time.
You obviously wouldn't be the same way as Ul'dah, where you start in Alamigo, but they could easily set up a zone outside of Alamigo where there is like a hidden resistance base
you're part of the
that
resistance.
opens up, and then as you progress through the storyline, you build that base up into a new city, which we have precedent for because both Mordona and Idleshire, as we're progressing through patches, builds up.
But why would it make sense to have level 3 mobs outside of that zone? Like, you're just wasting zone space at that point. So I kind of want to go back to something that Fusion said just a few minutes ago, was that we're probably going to be expecting a level cap raise with 4.0. Is that the most reasonable expectation? Because, I mean, I understand that most of the time, most MMO audiences do expect a level cap rise when you give them an expansion. But I think you end up wasting the potential of a lot of zones by making them level transition zones. I did this one day when we were on stream and talking about this, where if you end up capping the level and then you just make zones that are dangerous and that that are hard to traverse through, then you don't have to have these zones where, literally go to West Corthus right now. Is there anyone in West Corthus for any reason that isn't just out there clicking a quest icon? Nobody's doing...
Gotta get those 9 a.m. nodes, man.
Fucking... Nobody's out there. No one's out there doing fates. Nobody's out there leveling. Nobody does shit out in West Corthus, so it's a completely dead zone. But if it was difficult to traverse and we didn't just, we weren't just able to warp through it, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying having a bit more of a concentration on at middle and end game. Because if you focus on those like you put 10 new levels into the game, and now you have to give places for people to level. So all the zones that you're going to be adding, those are basically, you can write those off as leveling zones. This is where you go for fates.
It's easy to do. You just introduce a new area of the Shroud, and you just put 1,000 Moogle quests in there, and there you go.
Well, what he's saying, though, is if they don't increase the level cap, then you don't have to waste zones just for leveling.
You can use them in different ways. Yeah, you can use them in new and, well, not even new, but I guess they would be even old. Like, you could think of them as old ways. The way that we used to design MMOs.
They could just take the 1.0 maps where you have, level 1 nut biter squirrels or whatever outside of Gridania, and then you go up north and there's level 70 warthogs or whatever.
Yeah. But
never trying to get all the
oh my god,
the freaking the gates and shit. You'd have to, oh my god, you'd have to get a paladin to invincible and aggro everything and run them off.
And fucking. Gotta hit that sprint button. Gotta have my sprint shoes. Gotta have my sprint shoes.
Your way through the Shroud to get all your gates.
It was brutal. So
what's the incentive going to be to move through the next storyline if there's not a leveling cap increase?
The story.
Yeah, the story is kind of its own incentive there.
Going through the story is going to then open up all of these new activities or content that they make. Because the other thing is, think about how much time and effort and money and development goes into making all of those zones and all those quests that we leveled through, and then that's it. That's it. All that, unless you're leveling up a new character, you don't see that shit anymore. And imagine if they could put all of that time and effort into developing actual new systems and contents and things for us to do in game.
That's not just my only point. When you feel like you have to devote zones to a certain leveling range to allow people to level open world or through fates or however, but when 99% of your population's just through leveling through dungeons anyway, what purpose does that zone serve at all? It doesn't. It has no function.
Keep in mind too, this game, so much of its content is content is based on recycling older content. I mean, you talking about people in West Corthus, nobody's doing fates. Well, there's a few out there because they need crystals to upgrade their relic because that's part of their thing. Or, now you got to go back and you got to do, Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan Extreme if you want to get your Kettle Nexus, right? It's ever for the longest time, it's just based on recycling content. And then they add a new area with like new content, like Diadem. It's like, cool, check this out. It's like this end game thing, and you'll love it. And like 3 weeks after it was out, nobody cared anymore.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where they got to be really careful about, making those big and, non-level areas, but they got to have something in there.
But how? And
I'm almost wondering.
Go ahead. No, finish. No, sorry.
I'm almost wondering, because just the way the story's building, I feel like we're going to go to Alamigo, right? We're going to go east. There's going to be Empire stuff. What if they did some kind of like a 14 take on 11's conquest system, right?
Okay.
Maybe mix some fates in there, but have like territory control shit. Make it a little more dynamic, and then you'll get, you got to have something rewarding right from it. But I think that might do, make areas, more worth going into.
Or it could just end up being the new versions of LevQuest that they gave us with Heaven's Word that I don't think a single person has ever done ever.
No.
Somebody, like, it's like you have to get like the amber, like the Vilekin amber or whatever for some of the new orchestrion rolls. I'm like, what the hell is that? There's like an NPC you can get rings and all this other shit from it. I'm like, I never knew about this.
I got it. I'm gonna mix one of the ideas that we had with Fusion's idea, right? All right, so we go into Alamigo, right? After you finish the MSQ and you've let's say you liberate the main city, the Guardian presence is still there because we still have a lot of story to go throughout 4.0, but we at least get control of the city back, right? But now what it is Alamigo is still shattered. They're not really their own nation, so they rely on the grand companies for help. But the grand companies all want Alamigo for themselves as like a city-state. So now this is where you get your open world PvP in the 4.0 areas. And yeah, you have like these conquest style things where every once in a while a battle breaks out in certain areas and you have to go there in PvP against the other grand companies to try and take control of that outpost or that area for your city.
Ooh. It's an interesting idea.
I feel like lore-wise, nobody gives a shit about Alamigo. Like, especially like the Grenadians would be like, "Oh, Alamigo's in trouble." Sucks to be them.
Could find something like as we're trying to help them, like, "Oh, guys, holy shit, there's fucking mithril mines under Alamigo."
I feel like
there's new crystals or something.
Ulda's gonna try really hard to get those refugees out of their city. Like, yeah, let's go take it back.
Look, all you gotta do is just toss a MacGuffin into Alamigo, and then everyone will want it.
Yeah, like a dragon.
The problem is we've got a really good MacGuffin that's tied to one that came from Alamigo, but this one's not in Alamigo. And I feel like they kind of...
Is that...
Like right now, Omega.
Yeah.
Omega's under Cardinal. I'm like, why did you have to put it over there? Like, it's like, oh, it's under the PvP area. Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, put it somewhere else.
Are they ever going to do anything with that? I'm so irritated that, I mean, we haven't heard about Omega in like
ages.
3-4 patches.
God damn, it's been a long time.
They could have so easily set it up where the story is going right now. Like at the end of each patch, we're getting like little hints of like Yida and Papalimo. Yeah. If they had put Omega somewhere out east near Alamigo, that little snippet would have been so much more interesting because it's like, oh, maybe they're working at some kind of like, extra,
dig site
with some team that's trying to dig up Omega. And, you got like Vega from Street Fighters over there, like running stuff. Like,
keep in mind too that besides the fact that it's under Cartno, we know nothing about Omega. What if it turns out that what's under Cartno is only a piece or fragment of Omega and the rest of it is in Alamigo?
Maybe, or maybe they take it to Alamigo. I mean, that's where they dug up Ultima.
It's very easy to connect really anything to that.
That's going to be a big part of 4.0 or the end of 3.x that leads into more Garlemald stuff with 4.0. I think that's how it's going to go down.
Because there's nothing going on with Garlemald right now. There was like a brief scene in 3.2 after you got done with...
He's like, I see you're fighting the war in Triad. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the ship instead of...
Bye-bye.
Socially awkward.
Yeah. Honestly, I think one of the biggest things I'd like to see going forward, not just into 4.0, but from here as well, is I would like to see the stakes raised a lot higher. I want some actual, meaningful, permanent character death.
Good luck with that.
Keep dreaming.
In the recent patch, when Estinian showed up and speared that dragon, like I'm like, holy shit, and they're like, nah, she's fine. I'm like, what's the big fucking deal then?
Jesus, this is actually almost depressing.
It'll be good.
Yeah, like I was so upset. Like, come on, Square Enix. raise the fucking stakes a little bit.
Death really doesn't mean anything in this game.
Or at least give us some hamburgers. I mean, I'm not fond of steaks.
I think with 4.0, if we do get into Garlemald, I got a feeling Gaius will be back because why not? So
why not?
I'm looking forward to talking to Brita again. Right? She's probably got something cool going on. Tell us about the afterlife a bit.
Yeah.
No. She's a Rogan. She's definitely gone.
Oh, okay.
Rogan lives always die.
All right, Fusion. Well, thanks for hanging out, man. It was good to hear from you. Make sure you guys check out 8th Right Radio over at GamerEscape.com. Also on iTunes. And let's see, you guys got Twitch.tv/GamerEscape and at Roffelderg on Twitter, right? Was that everything? Did I plug all the things?
That's it.
All right, cool, man. No, thanks. Thanks for giving us a call and for chatting with us. And again, congratulations on your engagement, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, man.
Thank you, asshole.
Wow.
What was that for?
So aggressive.
It's just Fusion, and now he can't respond.
Thank you, Fusion. If you want to call the show, you can do so by sending a Skype message over to Limit Break Radio or 810-515-8715. What do you expect out of 4.0? What do you think narratively is going to be driving us into 4.0? Do you think that we're right in thinking that Ida and Pablomo are only just a lead-in to Alamigo, or do you think that they might actually be directing us in another direction?
Stop asking questions.
We'd love to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715 or limitbreakradio.com/Discord. So, Kookie will get you on the air. And
it's so weird with them saying that they're not planning on gating the content, because that leaves you to believe, like, well,
did
then
they say that?
I don't remember hearing that, but apparently they've that's confirmed. So then what the hell are they going to do?
Now, I think that's a terrible idea, because now, like, whatever happens in Heavensward and whatever happens in 2.0, they can't reference that at all, because they have to assume that people haven't done that content, and now each story is going to be its own separate little bubble.
Right. No. I see that. I understand why you would worry, because the Japanese are not exactly the best at subtlety when it comes to making sure that like the exposition in anime is always the worst. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, this is Final Fantasy.
Spinning punch that spins. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like always unnecessary exposition. I'm not saying I don't know. It's either a translation thing or it's a cultural thing. I'm not sure which it is. Okay, so I'm just, in a general sense, maybe not connecting those storylines. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's not going to be the best thing, because they're going to feel the need to, like, give you a ton of exposition on shit that we already know.
Yeah. Or
do you think
we're gonna walk into a camp and nobody is gonna know who the Warrior of Light is? It's not going to be like Heavens, where it's like, oh my gosh, the Warrior of Light is here. We're all going to be saved. Let's rally around him. It's going to be, oh, well, if you want to come help out the Alamegans, you have to prove your worth, because who are you? You're just scum on my boot,
yeah,
worm.
Back to bitch work.
This is fucking World of Warcraft. Mark my words. I was right about flying, and I'm going to be right about this.
If they start it from level 1, sure. But they're going to at least require you to go through the first MSQ, because that gets you to 50. So by that point, you are already the Warrior of Light. If, okay, sure, maybe you've only, killed like Ifrit or a few of the primals. But the other thing is if you look at some of their MMOs that are out there, like, for example, the fucking Star Wars one, right? Like, they have the technology to be like, oh, this person did Heavensward. Oh, this person did not do Heavensward. And change a little bit of the text accordingly, right?
Oh, okay, well, that's all they can do, though. All they can do is just give you, like, a small little snippet, like, oh, if this person has cleared Ifrit, then say this. But then they just continue on like it's, like, whatever.
That's so unnecessary, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, but, like, instead of, like, just, like, saying one line and then moving on and pretending like you never said it or whatever, they could, like, build around it like they have been in Heavensward.
Well, how do they get around it entirely? Because that seems like a whole lot of if-then statements that they have to start adding to.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to do.
A ton of NPCs.
And they're not going to do that.
They did it in 11. It sucked.
They don't really do it that often in Heavensward, to be honest. Like, they have, like, the only thing I can remember is if you've beaten Estinian as your Dragoon, then they make a reference once, maybe twice, and
so
that's
then
it.
why would they go all the way out of their way to...
I'm saying that they're not going to.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I have no faith in that at all.
I don't think they would either. And I feel like, I mean, I just don't know. I feel like with from 2.0 to 3.0, since they did Storygate that, like, it's really going to be hard for them in just in a practical fashion to get out of doing that.
Yeah, it would be really hard because, but the only thing is, as more and more expansions come out, eventually you're gonna have to do 5 expansions worth of story to get up to the right content.
If you're gonna do that, you would have to put literally every storyline to bed before 4.0.
Yes,
you'd have to wrap up the Sultana, you'd have to wrap up the Warriors of Darkness, you'd have to wrap up Omega, you'd have to wrap up...
We all know how well Square Enix is about wrapping things up.
Warring Triad, you'd have to wrap... you'd have to have some kind of Garlean lead in.
You'd have to wrap up any storyline that may affect Alamika.
Yeah, you'd no longer be able to have these complex interwoven storylines. It would literally just be one at a time.
And you know what? That sucks, because then it's like, this is the Alamegan storyline, it's self-contained. This is the Ishgard storyline, it's self-contained. It's done. We're never going to come back there, and we're never going to reference it again. That really ruins the whole lore of the world when you do that, because it doesn't feel like it's like all the plot lines are like interwoven and affecting each other.
It feel as alive.
But what are we going to do 3 more expansions down the line when now you're going to do 6 expansions worth of crap to get to the current storyline? And maybe especially if we do what you want to do, and now you're not even getting leveling out of it. If we have an expansion there where there's no leveling, that's just a storyline they just got to grind through.
Well, they got to have another Calamity, though, wouldn't they?
Well, what would be so wrong with making somebody sit through a storyline to get through? Because
a lot of it is grind, a lot of it is filler. And a lot of it sucks. And the only reason you put up with it is because you're leveling on it.
Didn't they cut all of that grindy, fillery crap out in 2.0 when they came out with 3.0? Like, for example, I'm sure when 4.0 comes out, they are going to cut out the majority of the Moogle shit in whatever fucking zone that is.
I guess if you do that, then I'm more okay with it. But if you had to go through all the stories as is, that would suck at some point.
No, you don't even have to do that right now. I have tons of 2.0 side quests that I just never did. And they're just still sitting there, exclamation point above their head. Doesn't fucking matter. If you're just doing MSQ, you actually can move through MSQ fairly fucking quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, why is it that... saying that the requirement of sitting down and putting in, I don't know, say 50 hours worth of work to get to, you're playing a fucking MMO.
And this is a story-driven MMO.
Right, why is that a ridiculous expectation? I understand why reviewers would balk at it.
And you know what? Yes. Square Enix just needs to give them a review copy. Here you go. Here's a character at level... whatever, at level 60.
Square Enix needs to give those motherfuckers a middle finger, because
that's what they did this time, and they were up in arms about it, and like
little children. It's story gated, and I can't.
Well,
I don't want to have to do work. This is my job. I get paid to play video games.
Okay, well,
my job is so hard.
If their job is to review Heaven's Ward and they have to play through 2.0. Then
suck dicks. You should have probably played A Realm Reborn.
Well, you're not wrong.
I don't give
Where's
a
your
shit.
old account?
Don't give a fuck.
I don't think it would be that hard to find a possible reviewer who already has a vested interest in Final Fantasy XIV, has a character at max
game
level,
reviewing is so hard.
And then they can actually give a really good review, not just based on what it is that they see.
Guys,
hey, I have an idea. You got 3 people right here who could do a review for you, Square Enix in 4.0.
Guys, but playing video games and getting paid for it's so hard. I've got a hard life. It's hard, and Square Enix needs to make it easier for me.
Wait, was that sarcasm?
What fucking babies, man. Game reviewers are such babies.
They have so many games to review.
Oh, it's such a hard life.
There's so many now. Ugh. Have you seen Steam? There's more than 20 now.
Well, shut up and start playing, dumb shit.
I have over 100.
God damn.
Stop hating on
more than
my
a quarter of them
game.
from Ryoku.
It provides so much joy. My penis is confused. Yoshi P has feelings. Head explodes.
Thank you, Thor. See, we get paid to play video games. Whining about it. That's so hard. Let's go back to our phone lines and let's take a call from Sayano. What's up, Sayano?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Discussion, by the way.
Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. So glad you could drop by. What's on your mind?
Wow. It's on the nose right there. Anyway, all right. What do you want?
So with 4.0, I think we are going to see another Chains of Promathia like we did with 11. I think we're going to get all of Alamigo. I think we're going to get all of the Garlean Empire, and I think we're going to get the rest of Coerthas, and have that be kind of like Alamigo area, be like a mid-30s level sort of area. Because right now, having another like a fourth branch to level up a job in would really be helpful, especially if they add another job or two.
Wait, why? Why? Don't we already have 3 zones that have mobs and fates in the mid-30s? Like, why is it so hard to level? Why there?
Well, so Zelfatol, which is north of Alamigo, could be the level 60 area. But because Gridania attaches directly to Alamigo, it just makes sense as far as progression-wise. I mean, you could just all make it level 60. That would be really great as well. But basically, the more landmass and content that you have to traverse, then the better it'll be.
I just think that that's wasted zone space if you're not using it for current relevant stuff. If you're going back 30 levels in a zone, like nobody will be there. Like nobody will use that zone for anything because nobody uses zones for leveling. Everyone just uses dungeons, and they pretty much only go do fates if they need,
just to bridge that couple gaps to get to the next dungeon,
or if they need an Atma drop or something. You know what I mean? Like those are really the only 2 instances where people even do fates at all.
Well, I mean, even if they just make it level 60, I mean, I completely agree with you. If they just make that whole entire content level 60, that'll work out too. And I really think that the Garlean Empire is going to play a big part in this, especially at the last cutscene in 3.2 with Yida and Papamo and the mask on the table.
What mask was on the table?
So there was a character after Yida and Papamo are talking, and they're sitting there saying, "I don't know if we can trust these guys. Let's just hold off." And there's a guy walking to a table picking up a mask off of the table.
Paplamo and Yida are that kid in the white mask who helps you kill the primals.
Shut up, Colin.
They're sitting on each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like Vincent from BoJack Horseman.
I don't watch your furry show, Aniro.
You should watch BoJack Horseman. It's quite funny. Anyway, okay, so there's a guy who comes in and picks up a mask. What happens after that? Does it just fade to black? I don't remember this at all.
It fades to black.
Yeah.
It fades to black, but there is a character called the Mask throughout the Final Fantasy series, and this is kind of a spoiler for Final Fantasy Dimensions, so if anybody has not played that, I apologize, but spoiler warning.
I don't know who would or why, but okay, sure.
Sure. So the description of the Mask in Final Fantasy Dimensions actually coincides with what we're going through in the story really, really well. He's an enigmatic figure who protects both the Warriors of Light and the Warriors of Darkness from malevolent forces. The Mask wants to obtain the ultimate magic, probably Omega, sealed beneath ancient ruins, but his true agenda is unknown. Through the Mask, shields his face from view. Something about him reminds someone of someone they met long ago. So what I'm thinking is that's actually Nero Tolskavia behind the Mask, working with the Warriors of Darkness, and Yido and Paplamo are with them, and they don't realize that it's the Warriors of Darkness. They just think that they're Warriors of Light.
Interesting theory. I'm not sure how much I don't know.
It is really creepy, though, how much of that Dimension story matches up with what's going on in our game, though.
Yeah, that is true. I see. The thing is I feel like Yida and Paplamo are I feel like that. Those scenes, the takeaway or the implication there has been that they're working with the Alamigan resistance, because there's other people present in those cutscenes.
And they look very dirty, like,
if I'm not mistaken.
refugees.
Yeah.
Poor people.
So are you saying that the Warriors of Darkness storyline is also going to tie into El Amigo and the refugees and all of that?
Absolutely. So the Warriors of Darkness aren't necessarily evil. They think that they're doing good, by killing primals and doing what we're doing. They just don't think that the Warriors of Light are doing good enough. And so they're basically just being manipulated, and we don't even know how they've been instantiated. Are they like primal like? Are they just brainwashed? Are they actually the Warriors of Light that we've seen in cutscenes in the past, and they're just like being manipulated by the Ascians? We have no idea. But they're the exact mirror of the Warriors of Light. They're just dark clothes and want to attack your character.
Well, yeah, the assumption being that their Zodiarc's chosen, whereas your Heidelin's chosen.
Right.
Unfortunately, their god appears to be way better right now. My god could beat up your god.
Well, they're 6-0 right now.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Oh, although you know why? There's 5 Warriors of Darkness, so I mean they're up a team member, and we only have 4 people. So I think that's a little unfair to me.
They do get a party of 5. It is kind of bullshit.
Speaking of Zodiark, it's actually kind of funny. So Heidelin is actually the name of the world that we're on. And I think the moon that they're on, the Ascians, at the end of one of the cutscenes, is actually where Zodiark is at the moment. I had, just kind of put that together as I was playing through the story again. But if Heidelin is the actual world that we're in, and it's kind of represented by a crystal, I wouldn't see why Zodiark wouldn't be represented by some kind of moon.
Well, didn't Minfilia say in that anti-tower cutscene she's speaking through, or Heidelin speaking through her, was saying that she had to banish Zodiark, and Moon is somewhere in there in that phrasing as well. So that's an interesting idea. Yeah. Any other interesting speculation or theory you want to lay on us?
The only other thing I could really think of, so going back to the 4.0 stuff, I think we all know that we're going to get 2 more primals before the end of 355.
Icons.
Yeah.
Icons. Sorry, icons. We're going to get 2 more icons before then, but I really think we're going to see the end of the Nidhogg storyline, because right now the problem with Heaven's Ward is Ishgard was contained. No one heard or saw from them before Heaven's Ward, and now that they're open the gates, the story just focused on that. And I think once we finish up the drama there, it'll expand out to the east, and we'll start having those broad stroke storylines again that carry across the whole world.
Well, it does, but it does feel like they could really drag out that whole Nidhogg thing a lot longer. I mean, with Estinian just sort of showing up at the Peace Summit, that seems like a midpoint as opposed to like
a climax.
Yeah.
Well, we are in the midpoint of 3.0, aren't we? Like this would technically be the midpoint,
right? But I mean, like how I feel like I can't wrap my head around how they're going to structure the closing of some of these storylines, because you're right. It seems like they need to wrap up the Nidhogg stuff to be able to focus on everything else. Minfilia, Scions, all of that stuff, and I mean, it's like we got a lot of focus in 2.55 or in the 2.5 series. We got a lot of focus on everything that was going on with the Scions, and so is that really the sequence that we're going to repeat? Is that 3.4 we go up against Nidhogg, and then we're back to focusing on Scions? Is there going to be some big existential threat? Because arguably the biggest existential threat right now is Nidhogg. So that's got to be, it feels like that's got to be the climax of the patch, right?
Sure, I completely agree. I mean, Nidhogg is kind of our immediate threat, right? He is our ultimate weapon, if you will. And he needs to be dispatched before we can actually go on. And maybe, so just to clarify, I think Minfilia is gone. I think they brought in Kryl to kind of take her place. And, that's just that. She's the voice of Heidelin now, and so be it. Estinian, I also think he's gone, and well, it's weird that Alphanod wants to focus on saving him, which seemed to be completely out of left field. But I think once we get rid of Nidhogg, be that with the Warriors of Darkness assisting us or who knows what, then we can focus on the Garlean Empire. I think they're going to play a much bigger part in the Ascians as well, because that's really kind of the two forces that have been plaguing us this whole time. Those are the overarching storylines, from 1.0.
Because the Garleans and the Ascians are both tightly focused on the Warring Triad, but yet most of our narrative push is towards Ishgard.
Right.
So there's got but there's got to be a point where the Ishgard stuff wraps up, and then the Warring Triad ramps up, or else we have both of those going on in tandem, and then neither one of them will feel important.
Yeah, see, I think that we will at some point finish Nidhogg, like in, let's say, like the 2.5-ish area, right? And then the 2.55 and what then connects us to Alamigo is either going to be, because you said that the Garleans are closely tied to the Warring Triad as well, because they want that power for themselves, right? So I think that the Garlean and the Warring Triad is somehow going to connect us to Alamigo, whether it's something simple like, oh, guess what, there's more of them in Alamigo or whatever.
So what?
However it ends up happening.
So what? Nidhogg confrontation in 3.4, and then that really brings sort of like all of the Ishgard stuff to a close, and then what? We shift focus to the last Warring Triad member? Because there's got to be like we're gonna fell all three of the Warring Triad, and then there's gonna be some other thing that happens. Otherwise, the Garleans wouldn't fucking be there and allowing us to kill the Warring Triad.
What if the last Warring Triad we defeat, but we don't get to kill, they escape, and for some reason they head to Alamigo?
No, I got it, bro. We get a Garlean assassin sent from the Garlean space station, and he poisons he poisons Emmerich, and then Lucia trying to defend his honor.
Well, anyway, if that's going to happen at some point, we're going to have to move the Warring Triad from side quest to main story quest, because currently it's just side quest stuff that is
right.
So that's going to have to. They're going to have to find some way to like shenanigans that into being the MSQ.
But they just took it out of the MSQ.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
they have to put it back in.
Just with this patch, this most recent patch, they took it out of the MSQ.
Right.
So what, they're going to end up tying it back in? That's so weird.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and then how did they do that? And then how did they do that narratively to be able to start with a clean slate moving into Alamigo for 4.0 for new players? They can't. They cannot satisfy all this shit.
No, you're right. You're right. They can't satisfy all of it. There is no perfect solution to it, but narratively, it wouldn't be as hard as you think. Let's say that the final one does escape. Goes to Alamigo for some reason, right? Any new person coming in that wouldn't have all that background stuff that we have, all they need is one NPC to be like, yeah, there were some warriors who took out a bunch of them up in fucking Ishgard, but one of them escaped here, and now it's our problem.
Because that's a really shit. Like, who?
No, you're right. It is shitty. But if they're not going to do the gating thing, that's what the other option is. Shitty narrative.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that they even have the space to be able to do all of that and lead into 4.0. Like, I mean, like, I'm kind of concerned because I feel like they wasted 3.1. Like, narrative.
Well, they did.
Narratively, they kind of pissed away 3.1.
Well, so what do they have left to do this with? They're going to have 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, and 3.55.
Right.
Effectively.
Right.
3.55 was humongous. So they can do a lot.
Yeah, 2.55
was humongous. They can do a lot
in terms of narrative, yeah.
But what they're going to have to do is at least one of these arcs has to come to a close of some kind in 3.3. You can't go, like, take your pick which one you want it to be. One of them is going to have to come to a close of some kind in 3.3. Something has to get resolved this coming patch if you're going to set yourself up to resolve everything by 3.55.
I agree.
With 3 major patches and then 1, like, 0.5 patch, I'm not concerned yet. But if in 3.3 it's still just more build-up, then I will match your concern on your own.
I'm not there until 3.3 passes. Like 3.3, like they have a lot of time still, especially because the half patch they have, historically speaking, was a big one last time. Like they put a ton of work into 2.55.
No, but what I'm saying, think of it now. Go back and think of the content structure, okay? Because we've got 2 more Warring Triad members to get through.
Right.
That gets us 3-3, 3-4, and then you have whatever happens at the end once you unlock all 3 of the Warring Triad. There's going to be something in 3-5.
Some big showdown because of it.
Probably.
Right?
Yep.
If we extrapolate what we got from other patches and what the content has looked like for 3.0, we'll get.
Taser Smurf is apparently quoting saying that they said 3.0 wouldn't have as many patch numbers as 2.0. Can anyone confirm or get some type of source on that?
Wow, if that's the case, I think we're really fucked.
Yeah. Nah. Take back what I said if that's the case.
I mean, let's not take an offhanded comment, made in an interview as total dogma for what they're going to absolutely 100% do.
Well, obviously.
Because they can change their roadmap. Yeah, their strategy at any time. If they decided tomorrow that there is no good narrative way to reset the slate and allow fresh players, incoming players into Alamigo or into 4.0 or whatever that content is, then that is they have the right to do that. Like, they are not on the hook to these whiny reviewers to be able to let them in. What they need to do is what's best for their player base, and that's what they did in terms of the 2.0 to 3.0 transition. And very few actual players of FF14 complained about that. So
Fusion in the chat saying that plans do change because Shiva was originally intended to be a beast tribe we haven't met yet, and look, she played a fucking huge pivotal role in the overall story of Heaven's Ward, and was probably one of the weirder or offhand sort of iterations of a primal that we've met thus far.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. So yeah, there's obviously tons of stuff that could change between now and then. But if we are going by the previous content cycle, we know that we have 2 more Warring Triad members to get through, and then we can reasonably assume that there's going to be something that happens at the end of it.
Yeah, this is also on top of, obviously we're getting another wing of Alexander, 2 more wings of Void Ark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's interesting, at least from Nidhogg's perspective, that confrontation with Nidhogg is set up. Like, you have the Ishgardian people who are now bloodthirsty for Nidhogg. You've got his dragonkin that he betrayed effectively, who are going to be pissed at him. It's set up to go do Nidhogg whenever you're ready.
See, and I think that building of animosities on both sides is sort of why I kind of think Amric's playing both sides.
It could well be, but it wouldn't shock me if 3.3 is the end of Nidhogg. It wouldn't shock me.
No,
the story's set up for it.
If that's the case, then I think that is actually really encouraging, because then we can focus on more important stuff moving forward.
You can literally have 3, 4, 3, 5.
So you'd like him to wrap up the Heaven's Ward, the Ishgard stuff relatively quickly.
Yes, I would. It would be strange, though, if it ended up refocusing back to the Warring Triad, although that's really the only place that I can think that they would, because they just excerpted it out of into its own set of side quests.
They could for now focus more towards the Warriors of Darkness if they wanted to pivot in that direction.
See, there are so many fucking plot threads. I forget about stuff.
They could pivot towards the Warriors of Darkness in the MSQ and keep Warring Triad on the side story, maybe until you finish killing the 3 of them or fighting the 3 of them.
Okay, one of the biggest pet peeves of mine in Heaven's Ward was how many people get your killing blows, right? If the fucking Warriors of Darkness swoop in and they fucking kill Nidhogg, I am quitting this game.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Amazing. Oh my god, that would be so funny. By the way, thanks for the call, Sayana. We really appreciate it. If you want to call Limit Break Radio, send a Skype message to Limit Break Radio or 810-515-8715. If you want to call in on Discord, you can do that too. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord is how you connect to our servers.
Another little tidbit here from our friend Fusion. He's maybe not as stupid as we think he is. He says that
let's not say things you can't take back now, okay?
They mentioned Ishgard housing in 3.4, and they also said they wouldn't like to add it until the war was over. Ooh. So that kind of also plays into that theory that the end of Nidhogg could be 3.3.
How epic would it be if you can't actually buy Ishgard housing until you complete all of the main storyline?
Yes!
Yes, I love it.
Please.
That would be hilarious.
We're definitely getting a large house then.
Yeah, exactly.
We will get an entire show out of just responding to people bitching about that.
Oh, dude, people would be so angry. So angry, and I'd love it. So yeah, we're gonna get another Void Arc in 3.3. We're gonna get another round of Alexander in 3.4. And there's been questions about the diadem, what we're gonna add. So they could opt to add stuff to the diadem. They said that they're going to make adjustments to the diadem moving forward. But I mean, is there a possibility that they could add an entirely another system, completely separate from the diadem, that would serve as a gear output for to bridge the gap that diadem served last time?
Ugh, if they leave Diadem as it is, like, how big of a fucking failure would that have been? Oh, shit.
If they just, like, cut it loose and say we're done with Diadem? Is that what you mean?
They wouldn't do
Why?
They better not.
Because they said that they were going to try new stuff, and if it failed, that they would try other new stuff.
All right, Nice let's do it.
I would just really hope that instead of just abandoning it,
they made it good.
They made it good, or they just tried something else with it and not just give up on it. I mean, think of how much shit they put into it just to be like, well, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of build up to it with like airships and stuff. Yeah.
See, like that's the thing is that I feel like you can. It felt like a quarter of a system. It felt it felt. You know what it felt like? It felt like
the dev test.
It felt like Abyssia without NMs. It felt like Abyssia without pop items or NMs or light farming.
Not to mention that it only lasted for
so who's Abyssia without Abyssia?
Weeks.
Say what?
It was only relevant for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
The gear from it?
I mean, people actually really like doing it. Like, obviously, there's still people that do it now. I mean, fucking the loser Skuro still does it. But it was really only, I feel like it was really only prevalent for like 4 or 5 weeks. Then people were just like, whatever.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, because it got kind of face bashy and boring. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a pretty big. That'll dissuade a lot of people, I think. I don't know. I mean, do you think if they did another system, is that the worst possible move?
No, not necessarily. It would just be really sad to see something that had so much potential just, turn into fucking guild pests.
It'd be like anything else. It's fine if it's good.
You know what? Fine. If Square Enix wants to make a system and just completely abandon Diadem and make a system that's actually good, all right, fine. Make something that's good, but you know what? Don't make 2 shit systems and leave one to die.
See, that's what I...
For Minion 2.0!
See, like, that's where I think we would go if they ended up abandoning Diadem, is that we would get something else and it wouldn't be... It would also be very rough.
Yeah.
In terms of a system, because if it's not a circle arena that has one big mob in it, I don't think that's
know what to do. How do I work this?
Yeah, exactly.
The next one comes out and it's a triangle room.
Oh.
I'm waiting for the hexagon. That's gonna be a good one.
What are some types of things that they can do at this point? I mean, we've talked a lot about gear progression. We've talked a lot about zone design. We've talked a lot about leveling and the use of zones. But they've got a pretty good. They've got a pretty good foundation for their MMO, but they've really got a blank slate when it comes to coming up with
brand new systems.
Yeah, with new systems, and so I mean, if you think about what I would want is what I was talking about before is the interconnectivity between the systems. So you have to participate in multiple ends of a system to get the most out of it.
Do you think that that's something then that they could weave within like the stuff that we have now, like raiding, PvPing, lore tomes, and be able to somehow weave those in to bring out a new system, or is it something that they would just have to build on going forward?
Well, no, I think if you make a system that is completely fleshed out from the word go, rewards included, all of the thing that stops progression is either the challenge, like if they put out all of the turns of Alexander at one time, there's only logically so far that you could get with the gear that's out before you'd run into that wall, right?
Right.
So, if you have a full system that's out, and I don't know if you would want to gate it behind gear progression, but I think that would also serve a way for, those big glory gear that we keep talking about, the truly end game, the I-300, let's say, if that's where that your eye level is going to be going at the end of the expansion. So that's what you can earn out of it. So that way the rewards that you get out of it can actually progress you more into the system. I think that's really what this game is sort of lacking, is that we never get the entirety of a thing right from the outset. It's like we get 4 injections of it, and then we get the next 4 in 6 months. And by the time we get those next 4 fights, the first 4 are irrelevant.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like a challenge; it just feels like a gate, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it felt like a challenge, if it felt like a mountain that you were climbing. Because I feel like they had a pretty good, they had the nugget of a good idea with some of the DPS requirements from Gordius Savage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you had some of those, if you had some of the same ideas where you had fights that were tuned to XI level, but the majority of your community is 20 eye levels below that, because that's where the lore gear is, that's where the easy gear is, right? But you have some outputs of really high level gear that could serve to progress you through some additional tiers of those fights. The problem is that Square Enix would have to have all the fights developed and ready to go out of the gate from the word go.
They didn't have the first tier developed properly at the word go, so...
it would take a bit of readjusting for Square Enix, but I think that it's possible.
But would that really be the best thing for the game if they had to rush out 12 fights instead of just the first 4? Because I feel like if they had to rush out all of the fights right at the start of 3.0, then our Midas fights would not be as good as they were.
Well, that's true, because they do learn something from every time they put a fight into the game.
Right.
They have now had 4 years. They will have had 4 years of development of this game by the time they put 4.0 out. If they can't figure out how to develop fun fucking fights by then, you know what I mean? It just seems like yes, you're right in the sense that the Midas fights are fun, and I think that they are fun because they learned from Gordius.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, but at the same time, though, getting a fully fleshed out system where instead of you get the next tier of that system in 2 patches, you get another system fully fleshed out that links into that first system that you had with a completely different set of gear that it puts out.
Like Assaults did with Salvage.
Exactly.
It seems like that'd be asking for a lot more development, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Well, so instead of them releasing 4 stages, now they're releasing 12, and you want a new system come next patch?
But they're not having to add abilities, they're not having to add job levels, because here's the thing, if you're adding levels to this game, you're also adding abilities, and we're at ability bloat level 4 anyway.
No more abilities.
Exactly. No one wants more abilities. No, and it's not that we don't want our rotations to change, or we wouldn't want potency adjustments, or we wouldn't want more tools in the toolkit. But the thing is that when they gave us the 50 to 60, we were at ability bloat, and now we're definitely we're above that line. So anymore, I think that's not a step in the right direction. But if they put that development time away from having to adjust jobs, balance jobs, make sure that they're all, they fit into their box, and instead focus that on developing content that's fun for the people who play the game who are already at the level cap, that I think is actually a much more worthwhile use of development time.
You're talking about the point where they were at 75 established cap in 11, as opposed to when they were still working their way up through Rise of the Zillar.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not bad if this is what we're going to say, like level 60 is it. We're staying here for the next 4 years, is where we're going to be at for a while.
Yeah.
Because what they're not going to do is like, we're going to take this expansion off and then focus on all this new stuff, and then next expansion we're going to level up again. No, that's a waste. If you're going to stay here, you better be willing to stay here for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and I don't know what that cap should be, but I mean, like, it does. Like I said, we are at ability bloat.
Yeah,
I feel it all the time. I'm just like, I don't necessarily some
disagree.
shit I don't use.
Level 60 i300 might be about right.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, if they're gonna do that, they better be willing to stick to that for a while. That's better not something where they go back and find out, oh well, 5.0 it's going up again. No, because you're going to spend 4.0 making content for that level.
Well, yeah, because then you have to look at you're going from vertical expansion to lateral expansion in terms of gear.
You're changing your whole design philosophy, which is like, it can't happen until 4.0, like what we're talking about. There's no way.
There's no way. There's no way.
But what we're asking is new design philosophy, literally, for the game.
Well, I think that's the only way that they can take it and still remain successful.
I agree.
I think if they continue in 4.0 with the same pattern that they've been doing for 2 and 3.0, that you're going to alienate your long-term players, they're going to bail, and you're not going to be able to replace them with new people. You just won't. Not
by
even
that point, fuck no.
We've talked about it before. Like, do we really want to repeat this cycle again? I don't know. Twice has been enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
Counterpoint, my favorite thing about new expansions is getting more abilities so I can play and have more new things, new shiny things.
Do you not really feel the ability bloat?
Oh, we're definitely at ability bloat. But at the same time, like, if the expansion doesn't change or give me new buttons to press, then that just completely turns me off.
I agree. And that's why I mean, like, that's what was so kind of brilliant about the merit point system in 11.
Merits is what we need.
merit, something like merits where you can add additional potency to your job,
different effects or something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Customization is the word that we're looking for, I think, because when you switch to a lateral design standpoint, you can allow for customization in your jobs.
You got customization. You guys are going to scare Yoshi. He is very scared right now. You're shocking him.
That's what you use to replace leveling, is now start to give like each class, like one of two trees that they can pick from, that you can start getting like merits and stuff in that helps you focus on doing your role.
I think that's
or the other way.
I think that's a viable replacement for having more levels or more abilities. Yeah, because I really don't think more abilities is going to do anyone any fucking favors at this point. I'm just so sick of fucking no, just don't. Make me change up my rotation, but let it be my choice how the rotation changes. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to put more enmity on my DPS combo, fuck it, let me do that. That would be a great change. That would be a great addition. And to let abilities be customizable, that's even going a step further than materia, and it's an even kind of better way to do it than doing like job ability materia or a materia that specifically augments job abilities.
I hear coming out of 2.0 and into 3.0, Dragoon had one of the longest ideal rotations in the game, and when we found out there was going to be 4 more abilities added in, it was like, fuck that.
I know. What I was just thinking was, wow, this is the most Ascalia has like talked and actually contributed to an episode in a long time. I'm really fucking impressed, and they need to talk about fucking Dragoon and ruin
it. You go wreck it.
Whatever, stands viable. Point.
Oh, come on.
Is it?
I think you guys might be wishing for the stars at this point, because I don't like everything Square Enix and Yoshi have said, and their design philosophy is like pure contrast to customization.
Yeah.
I mean, it took them this long just to give us materia, which, let's be honest, unless you're a tank or a healer, you don't have customization. You really don't.
I don't know. Have you tried putting some VIT on your...
Shut up. You're going to trigger me. Do you know, out of like all of my gear right now, I have one slot that is not crit. One.
What'd you put there?
Determination. So, like, I don't know, like...
Really? I had to put some determination in mine. Yeah, mine's actually kind of split pretty evenly.
Like...
I put skill speed in 1.
Oh God, stop! You're such a bad.
It has crit and determination. You want me to go put some fucking vitality on it, Juxta?
Yeah, that'll help you progress apparently.
But hang on. We were talking about overmelding stats that you can't use secondary stats to overmeld. And you're talking about gear that you can't even overmeld.
Right.
So
you can overmeld secondary stats.
Not in the lower gear. Lower gear.
Yeah.
Oh, lower gear. Yeah, no, okay, right.
So, I mean, I don't know what you think you're teasing me for, but it's not that's not at all what either Nika or I were saying last night.
I'm not trying to trigger Juxta.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I don't think we're going to get like any kind of customization in 14 and 4.0.
Within the jobs themselves.
Yeah.
You've got to, because it's either that or you keep adding abilities, and there's no way that Square Enix can keep adding abilities.
They might start adding traits.
Well, we've talked about that.
Traits would be cool.
Traits would be cool, but like I don't. From a programming standpoint, I'm not sure if they can, because they didn't add any new traits for jobs. They didn't add any traits like from 50 to 60 for new things. Like, I mean,
and you think it was because they couldn't?
I don't know if they can or can't. I'm not a programmer.
Hang on, what's the point?
That's silly.
I'm sure they can.
Like some guys, like, hey, why don't we make it so that like they get like this ninja get this new ability where there's a chance on auto attack that they proc this thing. Like, come on, you know that we don't have the technology to do that.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
What the fuck exactly is the point of regimented traits that you can't customize or you can't select? I mean, because it's literally the same for everyone. Those bonuses are literally the same. Everyone is, when you're talking about content that you're doing, everyone's at 60, and it's not like any gear stat affects that. Like I was kind of thinking about this the other day, like elemental materia. Why is that a thing?
Because 1.0.
No, I'm serious. Why is it a thing?
1.0.
No,
and to reduce the materia market, to make your materia that you convert more worthless, to have a chance at proccing an earth materia and making you slit your wrists.
It is entirely pointless.
It is there to be pointless.
The elemental wheel plays literally no point in this game whatsoever. Has never.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
It could. They could make it, but they're not going to.
You're skidding on dangerous grounds. Many black mages will be very upset with you.
I mean, it's very, you know what I mean? Like I there's a whole lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in this game.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I think customization would be incredibly helpful at this juncture.
Yes.
Especially moving forward to support your endgame community. Because I think that's what we want. I mean, yes, we all want new jobs, but at the same time, I think that...
everyone wants new jobs, sure, but me and Kahlo really want Ninja to grow and expand too. Like,
I want to be an assassin.
Shut up. How good would it be if my Ninja and Kahlo's Ninja played differently? Because we had to do things.
See, that's what I've been...
And still wouldn't take us to her raids.
And then we might actually be able to both go Ninja to a raid because we bring different buffs or whatever, but that's... I'm like... We're not going to see that. I honestly don't think we will ever get to that level of custom.
As an MMO, how do you survive as an MMO if you don't? That's my question.
I really want that now so much.
How does FF14 continue to stay viable as an MMO if it doesn't? Because it's now on hardware that is becoming pretty much last gen. Its graphics are starting to age. I mean, it will be last gen in I'm going to say 2 to 3 years. Yeah. We'll have a whole new generation of consoles. We'll have
PS5.
Yeah, we'll have all new video cards. MMOs will look way beyond what FF14 is able to produce, and it'll look like an aged game, much like FF11 does. Yeah. How do they support their player base? Because it's gone from how do you bring people in. Because I think that was the directive with 2.0 and 3 and Heaven's Word. Bring people in. Get people who are otherwise not exposed to FF14, exposed to this game. And now the mission statement should go from exposing new people to keeping who they already have.
How does Dark Age of Camelot still stay relevant? There's a lot of people still playing that.
That
I think there's like one server that one guy runs. The upkeep cost is like $5.
Because Yoshi played that game. He needs to tap into that to make this game to keep progressing.
No, but
tap into the 10 people that play that game.
No. Woody's got a point. There are these old dinosaur MMOs that just keep fucking going forever.
Because Greg from accounting is running them at this point.
No. If that was true, then someone would have bought up Hellgate London and would be running it under the same auspices. But it's not. Fucking Ultima Online is run by Origin still. EverQuest is run by Sony still. Those servers are still theirs.
But what do you think
Dark
the
Age of
upkeep
Camelot
cost is at this point?
I don't.
Dirt cheap.
Probably, but they're still. I mean, to be able to keep an audience, they've still got to do something.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean,
do they still have expansions?
They didn't go out of business. There are a lot of other MMOs that have straight up gone out of business.
Sure.
That were, made within the last 10 years. But here are these dinosaurs from 15 to 20 years ago that are still hanging on.
Yeah.
What are they doing right? What what I'm asking is, what are they doing right? And what can FF14 duplicate about that success?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, WoW, you can't look at WoW, because WoW is a fucking juggernaut. WoW is a specialty case unto itself.
WoW was the right thing at the right time.
Right. And it was such a cultural phenomenon that's why it still hangs on and is still the biggest. But they are a case unto themselves. You can't... I think that they make a strong case on how you build a like a kind of a casual audience for an online static world, but then what you do with it, WoW dropped the ball entirely. I mean, when you lose half, they lost like half their player base, but that's still fucking 8 million people. You know what I mean? Like, the minute you start talking about WoW, they go, oh, but there's still X million people playing it. Well, yeah, because there was twice that many.
Yeah, you have to do something really bad to lose half of your audience.
Yeah, exactly. They still have 8 million people. That doesn't change the fact that they lost 8 million people.
Right, exactly. So what are games, older games that are still hanging on, what are they doing right to keep their audience? Because if it was truly boring, truly monotonous, the game would be dead. Dark Age Camelot would be totally dead by now. I think that those are the questions that the devs need to ask themselves, and some of the keys, some of the keys for success that they should look at. Could be good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can figure out, because I sure as hell don't know.
I hope they're asking themselves this question, because we're asking ourselves, and we're debating and trying to figure out what to do. And we really can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right, let's go back to our phone lines. We've got Marcus Ragnar hanging on. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, not much. It's a good thing I called during the episode where you're talking about plot, because I had a thing I wanted to talk about last week, but I couldn't get in time.
Okay.
I noticed this about 3.1 and 3.2, and it's really jarring considering how important he was. Where the fuck is Midgard Zomer been?
That's a good point.
Who?
He just...
The big dragon.
The goddamn giant snake grandpa dragon
Nidhogg?
we dealt with at the end of 2.5. He showed up at the end of 3.0, and then he's just fucking fucked off to nowhere.
You're right.
Well, no. He showed up, and he's like, because basically he's been testing you this whole time. Like, when we met him out on the lake, he's like, I'm going to come with you. I'm sealing the little echoey, gifty light inside, so let me see what you can do on your own. And then you basically helped bring the Dragon Song War close to its conclusion, and, like, kind of started to befriend the dragons a little bit, so Midgar Stormer's like, all right, you're pretty cool in my book. And then he flew off.
No, but you've got that mini Midgard-Sommer that will come in and every once in a while drop a few cryptic lines over your shoulder. That and I think that's what Marcus is complaining about, that he doesn't do that. Why did he stop doing it?
Because now he's your mount.
That cutscene at the end of
he's upgraded to the mount version by now. He's upgraded to mount size now.
Marcus, you're talking over people. Shush. Shush. Kala, what were you saying?
Disappeared is because he's happy with us now. Like, he was following us around when we got the mount, the Midgard-Sommer mount. That was the cutscene where he was like, yeah, you know what, you human people aren't that bad. You've managed to quell the rage of most of my children.
Yeah.
Now you just have Nidhogg to deal with. Congratulations. And then he left. He believes that you are the champion Heidelin saw, and now you have his endorsement, but he's not going to fucking stick around anymore.
I don't know, but Marcus isn't wrong.
Makes the question of why disappear.
Still
Plus,
talking.
Another thing, if you listen to the lyrics in the second half of the Sephiroth fight, when he gets all big and hyper swole, you hear him. Part of the lyrics mention where the serpent lies. Midgard-Sommer's a giant fucking snake in his normal form.
Well, serpent can.
The icons know about him.
I don't know. I think you're jumping to some conclusions there. I don't know that there's exactly a link.
Well, if we're jumping to that, but what if because you keep mentioning about what if the beating all the Warring Triad unlocks something else? What if it's Midgard-Sommer?
Why would it be like, oh, now that the icons are dead, the Warring Triad's dead, now let's go kill Midgard-Sommer, who is on friendly terms with
us? He's still a big dragon. He's technically a primal. What if Garlean wants him, like Alec did with Heidelin?
Whoa! Midgard-Sommer's a primal? Where the fuck did you get that from?
He is.
Well,
he is?
He's still doing he's close enough. Like, I'm saying primal in finger quotes with him.
He's like, he's an elder primal, much like Odin is. He was summoned.
Yeah, but Bahamut was the same thing, and freaking Alex still put him in the slammer.
Because didn't we come up with some type of one episode where we had this theory that Midgard-Sommer came from another planet?
Midgard, first of all...
That's like canon, actually. Supposedly canon, as I recall.
First of all, Midgard-Sommer never went up against the Allagans. Midgard-Sommer went up against the Garleans and crushed the Agrius into Silvertear Falls. So he is a primal.
Oh, right.
He was summoned...
Never mind. They probably still think he's dead, because he did kind of fossilize himself. Never mind.
God damn, you're fucking talking over everyone today, Marcus.
I'm sorry. It's
watch it.
Out on my
watch it.
My internet.
No. You watch it. I'm watching you. I got my eye on you, Marcus.
Or your
I'll
ear.
be good sometime.
Whatever. You shut your mouth. Anyway,
I don't get it.
I'm kidding. But I mean, he's definitely a primal who's summoned by the dragons at that time to defend Silvertear Falls. Because that's the 1.0 opening cutscene.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure, because I guess technically the way that he's came back now, he could be, but I didn't realize that he was summoned from the dragons
I don't
to
think
bring
he was
down
before.
the
He just
Agrius.
woke up and the Garleans pissed him off. They interrupted his nap and he came to kick their ass.
I like how even their primals take naps. Even the primals live sleep for 1,000 years. It's fucking Snorlax of
between
dragons.
1.0 when you find him, he was napping for 15 years.
Right, so what possible evidence do you have to support that we would suddenly go and destroy Midgard-Sommer?
He's got perps.
No, I realized the flaw of my actions.
I think Marcus is what's wrong with everyone in Ishgard. He just wants blood.
No.
Death to Nidhogg, right, man? Get those dragons out of our neighborhood.
Not in my backyard. I don't want your kind around here. Not in my backyard. Oh my god!
Greatest conversation ever.
Great.
No, but it's. I mean, it's an interesting thought. I mean, if you were to go to those lengths, like if that would seem like Midgard-Sommer set all of this up so that you would end up beating the Warring Triad and unlocking that, and then unlocking him from his body. It just seems like that doesn't
would be forced.
That doesn't really line up with his MO. Like it doesn't. We don't really.
If that's what he's wanted, he would not have sealed away Heidelin's powers from you. He would want you going full force into it. He'd be like, hey, let me give you these extra powers so that you can do this.
Yeah, here. Just to assuage your little concerns about where he's at. It says that after King Thornton has fallen, Midgard-Sommer witnesses Estinian's body being taken over by the spirit of Nidhogg, watching his offspring fly off with profound sadness. Midgard-Sommer later takes the adventure to Ishgard and seeing Emmerich's resolve for peace between their races, while warning warning the Ishgardians that Nidhogg has consumed Estinian and will prepare a renewed conflict with those loyal to his wayward spawn. Vowing to remember Emmerich's vow to heart, Midgar Somer flies off.
Okay, so he has, sort of fucked off then. Okay.
Yeah. No.
I missed that note in the scene, but
He'll
whatever.
be missed.
Well, there you go.
This is what you get for skipping cutscenes, you fuckers.
Do you not?
Thanks for the call, Marcus. Interesting theory. We appreciate it.
That was a dumb theory. Fuck you, Marcus.
maybe try.
I still think you're cool, though.
Maybe try listening to when people are talking. I don't know. Just a thought. Let's talk some. Let's read some emails here.
Emails.
Kahlo, you want to start us off?
Let's start us off. All right. Happy Sunday, LBR hosts and listeners. I have a response to the VIT materia for DPS suggestions that was being made on episode 55. Oh, here we go, Juxta. He's going to give us some edumacations.
All right, teach me.
Now, I know VIT on DPS seems like the obvious choice for progression. You can't do any damage if you can't survive a flopped mechanic. My problem is that we might not be thinking this all the way through. We're all going to be making mistakes during progression, but what if instead of hoping to survive, we just hope to take less damage? I want to make the suggestion that parry materia... Okay, can I stop this email? Parry materia be used for progression DPS instead of VIT.
What?
My napkin math suggests that the healers would do less work, healing and raising, if we have a chance to just not take as much damage as opposed to having
you douchebag.
As opposed to having to heal more due to higher HP pools. Back-to-back flubbed mechanics where you could take X% less damage and thus less healing sounds better than using all the oh shit heals to cover the same ground. This could also provide healers with more DPS uptime, and obviously I don't have to tell you that maximum DPS uptime is what we're after. Thanks for taking your time for this email. I love you all. Marty K from Swagatonis. Oh,
I love flaming lamers.
He's on our server, so we can go and lynch him.
I vote that we take all of Marty K's napkins away. He is not using them responsibly.
Well, because here's the problem: you have to be getting hit for parry to be effective.
And if you're a deep,
parry magic.
I don't think you can parry a lot of the mechanics that you would get hit by.
No.
Oh, shit. Here comes Meteor. Here comes Flash Flood. I'm gonna parry this one, guys.
I mean, come on, you look ridiculous.
I just don't see that working at all. If you need any kind of defensive edge, I think you got to go with VIT. You have to go with VIT.
Use your vitality. That's what it's there for.
It can't. Why would you? I don't. Unless you're like having to off tank an ad or something. I just don't see parry.
Unless you're partying with Ryuichi and he's being a bad tank, you need to go take care of it for him. I get it.
No, tanks don't even want parry.
No, we don't.
Yeah, parry doesn't quite work the way you think it does.
I'm the troll guy.
Maybe. All right, let's take a look at this next email. Hey, LBR. I love the show. I started listening when you guys did the racial roulette stereotypes.
Oh, good one to come in on.
Yeah.
Always an entertaining time. I listen Tuesday after the live show on the podcast. It makes my boring day at work go by faster. I started on Coral when ARR launched and my old Final Fantasy XI LS, but that group quickly disappeared. Switched servers over to Genova and changed my name and race and gender. From Gregor Reagan, Lalafell male, to Satiri Azizel. So, Ora female. I joined a great FC, and we had an issue where the FC, where one of our real-life male players was harassing two of our real-life female players, and that caused some cliques to form. The male player has been since removed, and the cliques, for the most part, have been broken down, but in that time, we lost some good players. We have recruited some and picked up a new Dragoon, new to 60 the other day, a solid player who just needs to raise his eye level, and we helped him clear Alex the other day, and we'll help with any clears that he needs. We're trying to form an endgame static and have a solid core group. Just really need some players to fill in spots. We're not deathly serious about the game, just trying to have fun. Any advice on how to recruit more for the static or for the FC in general? Love the show and keep up the good work. Gregor, a.k.a. Satiri.
Yes. host a successful podcast, you'll have no problem getting people in your FC.
I think that's really easy. Sorry, I mispronounced that. Yeah, that does help.
Yeah, if you can just 20, 30,000 people listening, you'll no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dodoy.
But I mean, FC recruitment, we have just kind of started into the free company thing, and we haven't really formed any groups or any statics or anything else. I mean, I have to say that I don't really feel like a member of the free company yet because I'm not in it.
Yeah. That's correct. Congratulations. If you're not part of something, then you shouldn't feel part of it.
No, well, that's
not sure where you're going with that, big buddy.
Is Limit Break Radio not mine? Is this not my radio show?
You're not part of the free company LBR, Limit Break Radio.
No,
that's correct.
But all of those people are in the link shell and shit. So I don't really feel connected to that group in the same way that I think this person is asking for advice recruiting. And what I'm saying is I don't know that I would be the person to give the advice on recruiting for a free company because I don't even feel like I'm a part of my own.
It sounds like he wants more people to be like part of a static almost. Like I feel like connected to people I would like raid with on a regular basis, but not so much just people in like the FC. Those are like people you talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that deeper connection with people unless you like raid with them, do the vent server and all that stuff. Like that's where that bond forms, right?
I was gonna say, going off of that, because obviously, and then here I don't necessarily think what you're saying is true either, because a lot of the people that are in our FC are in our link shell. I mean, they're pretty much going to be the exact same people,
right?
And I've actually only recently started to feel that way with the people in the LBR link shell since I started doing things with them, like all the raids that we've been doing on Tuesday nights, or all of the primal fights and farming that I've been doing with all those other people that Skuro leads, I guess. So really it's just finding people that are as passionate about the game as you are and want to play and do the same things you are along with you, and that's just kind of a bond that you have to form over time.
Yeah.
It's not really like a process that you can do unless you happen to be someone who runs a successful podcast and people just flock to your server.
And that's what I'm saying is that like we've never wanted for people. Like unequivocally we're the worst people to ask about how to get people to join your free company because
people come to us like, hey, can I get an invite to the free company?
Yeah, like we've never tried. We've never had to try.
Kicking inactives out of the link shell is like a daily experience.
And so like that, I think that was really my only point is that we're just like the worst people to ask about that.
Yeah. I think the best you can do is just shout for like, hey, gotta go do an expert roulette. Come join me, and then maybe they'll join your free company.
Yeah,
afterwards.
but how often do you
Barry.
How often do you see them, and how often are you like, yeah, all right? Even if you're looking for a free company, you're like, I don't know.
If I didn't have a free company and I went with like a pre-made and they're like, hey, you want to join our free company? I'd join it just for the shits and giggles. But that's the thing is people aren't really not in free companies. So.
We need like an FF14 FC Hot or Not app that you can just like swipe left or swipe right on.
Rate my FC.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I was in that FC for a while. Fuck them. They're all ERPers.
No, I honestly like. I feel like really ill-equipped to answer that question. So
yeah.
Sorry, Gregor. Wish I could help, but don't think I can.
You lose.
All right. Who wants to read this next one?
I'll take it.
All right.
Hi! Interesting discussion about raiding on last episode. All of the following pertain to Alex Savage raids. 1. Nika's expectations of prospective recruits is reasonable. People who stated they would, but didn't show up to raid, should be blacklisted. It's no different than a rage quit IMO. It's disrespectful and a waste of time. Fuck them, blacklist them. 2. 3 days a week of scheduled raiding is fair. Anything less is a waste of time since people forget content. In addition, players who want to progress faster will likely skip out on a group that only raids once or twice a week. 3. Even if a mid-core group isn't going for worlds first, they can and should be serious about raiding policies. It's adherence to raid policies that will determine a raid group's success. If there are no policies or structure, then a group will likely be doomed to spin their wheels in an endless cycle of wipes and or replacing players. Eventually, you will find a group of people who will be on the same mindset. The differentiation between the mid-core and the hardcore is simply time commitment. 4 to 5 days a week for hardcore, 2 to 3 days for mid-core. Attendance requirement of 3 days a week for mid-core raiding is completely fair. It sucks that Nika had to experience prospects flopping, but the solution is simple. Blacklist them and move on. Keep recruiting. In addition to actually struggling through progression, another part of the work is also recruiting and surrounding yourself with like-minded players. People assume that raiding and progression is the toughest part. In actuality, it also involves finding the right people. It's no different than pugging. In pugs, you will find some great players who know the fight and know their jobs well, but will rage quit after 2 wipes. Again, fuck them, blacklist them. On the flip side, there are also decent players who know the fight just well enough to beat it, but will stick it through multiple wipes to get the clear. These are the kind of people you want to play all the time, if you're lucky. Recruiting for a static is similar to what I have just described, save for the fact that it's actually more drawn out than a pug. In a static, it may take 1 to 2 weeks of raiding before someone quits, or you have to kick them for whatever reason. Attendance, commitment, skill, etc. You have to put in the work though. In sum, I just want to reiterate that Nika's expectations are fair, but should also know that recruiting takes work. At the same time, there are a lot of idiots out there who will flop on commitment. There is not a real way to avoid these idiots until you play with them and blacklist them then if it comes to that. Keep it up, you shitlords. This PSA has been brought to you sexually by Samus Rageborn.
Wow. Oh, it's from Samus?
Samus, how long is your blacklist?
Why don't you Canucks go back where you came from?
Actually, I'm glad that it's someone we know, so I'm just going to come over to Facebook really quick. Samus, fuck you for your shitty Care Berry.
Jeez.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's always the expectation that comes along with endgame rating that is a big turnoff for me. The expectation of of whatever it is, of either meeting a certain DPS requirement or. Like it just whatever it ends up being, like it's just that's a big dissuading factor for me.
Yeah,
is it's like after a while, raid night, it was like okay, I was like having to prepare myself for dealing with people's shit, for just dealing with their shitty attitude and their shitty behavior. Now I understand that those might be. That may have just been the people I was with, but like that, it goes back to that whole raid anxiety. Like, if you're not creating a conducive environment for certain people, then they're gonna fucking bail on you. They're gonna bail on you. I've bailed on people before because I'm like, you know what? You've sent me 5 fucking messages in 2 days. I'm done. I don't want to. I do not want to fucking hear from you.
Yes, girl. Dick.
You know what I mean? Like that. There's also expectation on the other side where you're like, oh well, but I was telling them that they, that they needed to be available at such and such time. Well, how often were you telling them? Were you being irritating? Were you being fucking annoying?
How often should you have to tell someone?
I don't know. But if someone,
the other side of it.
But if someone like if I'm gonna join a static and that person's gonna fucking nag me like my mother does, I'm just gonna fucking tune it out and be like, this is not worth it.
No, I agree. If I join your static, I know when the times are, I will be there.
Exactly.
And guess what? If someone's not gonna be there, they shouldn't be in the fucking static.
Okay, well, how about one friendly reminder the day before? Like, oh, don't forget, tomorrow is Tuesday, we're raiding.
That's probably
fair.
Fine. That's
okay.
Probably fine. But I mean, like, if you're sending tons of messages, that I mean, there's a certain pressure that comes along with that too.
If you remind him of his ex-girlfriend, there's a problem.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If he starts having like PTSD flashbacks.
Holy shit. Nero, is this the email you were telling me about?
Yes.
Oh my Jesus.
I know.
Wait, what about it?
This next email.
This next email from
Blitzen.
Yeah, Blitzen is quite long.
Oh my gosh.
Seminar.
It has formatting in it.
That's what I was saying. It's ridiculous.
There's bolds, there's underlines.
Bullet points. Does he italicize?
Is there a PowerPoint attached to this?
He does not italicize.
Don't think so. But it's if you're having trouble getting people to stick with your group, like maybe look at your own group dynamic first of all.
Look inward.
Yeah, look inward. I don't think that it is unreasonable to say, look, this is when we raid, this is when we expect you to be here. There's nothing unreasonable about that. It's just I think my point was more towards everything fucking else. All of the other pressure that gets put on people. So.
You know he was gay, right?
What?
That's why I'm sending you 800 messages. He wants to be in you.
Weird.
ERP like.
Oh, stop it.
Muting you.
Thank you.
Enough of this. Who wants to take this next email? Someone needs to.
Are we reading this whole big thing?
I guess so.
Okay, great. Here we go.
You want to split it up, Escalia? We could
No, we're not splitting emails.
Yeah, you gotta be kidding me!
Hey, team. Loving the show and all the other side projects. Lots of fun and a good time in FF14. I had some thoughts on Feast as it currently stands. Some things PvP I've said before, so please forgive me. Let me know if you agree. Positives. Loving the insta-queues. So unfamiliar to all of us at PvP fans for FF14. Going to go a long way to fostering a high participation in the future. The coin system is great and forces the whole team to pay attention to both their players and the opposition in terms of focus targets and protecting your team. Different games for ranked and non-ranked is a smart idea to separate different types of players, hardcore and casual. Pre-mades of 4 are a good start to developing small team game, which will be useful for joining with others in the future. And sprint not costing TP is perfect. Criticisms. Well, Astrologian needs to be nerfed.
Yes.
A regular to subpar Astrologian is still good because of the class. A very good Astrologian is almost impossible to kill. We recorded incidents where he is focused, stunlocked 3 times, then silenced, giving about 10 seconds of no abilities, while hammering with massive damage debuffs and blowing CDs. Their ability to sprint and insta-heal with machine gun speed at the power of a lustrate is insane. Other heal classes are interrupted non-stop.
DPS needs to get good!
Summoner Eggy interrupt on every attack has to be removed. Healers are just interrupted relentlessly for every auto attack.
Well, yeah, that's obviously a bug. They mentioned that.
Yeah, known issues. Community issues. A lot of people are embracing PvP, which is fantastic, but the complaints about the existing community members are getting silly. Perhaps discussing this will help some users. I created some pre-battle macros that explain very simply what we are doing and what I will be doing as tank in terms of healer harassing. I also volunteer to mark whatever target they want to attack immediately and hammer him with damage debuffs on my way to the healer. I figured this would be helpful to community and newer players. On the boards afterwards, I noticed some people complaining about the salt they are getting for being new and vets chewing them out for not listening. Here were the consistent arguments. Please let me know if you feel the same way about this. 1. People are shouting at me because I am not following the game plan and doing what I want. Why can't I do what I want? Answer. If everyone agrees on a plan to kill Summoner or Astrologian first, you attacking the tank is not helpful as a DPS. It is an on-the-spot strategic fight that everyone needs to be on the same page for. Having a team member do their own thing and ignore any direct messaging is frustrating. Expect salt. Solution. Let them know you are doing something else so they can make up for your lack of DPS on a target. Absolutely do not play 4v4 ranked because 1 of 4 not helping is a loss and those players care about ranking.
No, solution is kill yourself. Well, I mean, if you're a DPS and you're ignoring the DPS target, then you're not helping anyone. You're just helping the other team.
Yeah.
It's wasted. It's literally wasted DPS. Yeah, you're not even annoying the healer because they're casting AoE heals.
Yeah.
Done. It doesn't make sense to not go with the game plan.
Yeah. Focus the fucking person.
If you want to do PvP and you want to do your own shit, just queue for a PvP roulette where there's 70 other people and it doesn't fucking matter.
There you go.
People are shouting at me for not using PvP abilities. Why can't I just use the abilities I know? Answer: they are free abilities and you can make a separate PvP bar.
That's like the people who are like, oh, but I've got this ability on my bar and I never use it, but it's extra DPS, but I never use it. Like the people who don't work stuns into their rotation.
Yeah.
Or black mages who don't use Eno Chain.
or dragoons that don't use jump.
Weirdos. They are tremendously useful. Solution: to avoid hate, most certainly do not enter 4v4 ranked. This is the craziest, and more than once, there are some guys that make pre-battle macros to explain the fight and strategy. I feel like just making these macros and making targets isn't enough. Can those players please make guides that are geared towards how everyone learns? If they could also make macros during battle telling members what to do, and that would be very helpful. I feel like they should be helping new players adapt better rather than attacking them. Oh my god. Answer: there really are no guides. You learn the PvP abilities and watch what is happening around you. Get your ass kicked and get better each time. Get used to it. As for other players doing more to teach you, if we are already making macros and explaining a strategy beforehand that you may or may not want to listen to, we can't do anything else. It is no one else's job to make you guides and make macros designed towards how you learn. Fuck off. Shut your stupid entitled little fucking mouth. Why should anyone have to come home from work and start a part-time job as your video game mechanics technical support? Macros, strategy explanations, and marking targets for you as you refuse to use PvP abilities, respond to messages, or follow strategy isn't good enough for you? Solution: don't play PvP, ever. People have forgotten that this is a competition. This is not PvE where there are learning groups and taking several attempts at banging your head off it against the content. You learn, you develop, you contribute, you work as a team. People are here to rank up, compete with to the best of their abilities, and are not obligated to coach you while trying to do their best to contribute. The other team will be merciless every time. You are there to measure up, not to have an even fair playing field. If you've never been in a competition before of any type, whether it be sports or any other type of game, people take it seriously and will get more heated over it than anything. PvE failure doesn't bother people as a fraction as much as losing in PvP in every game. People that love competition scale differently on an emotional level. They hate losing more than they love winning. Sorry for brief rant. I hate doing them. Brief rant.
Brief rant.
We're not done yet. Only other input.
Jesus.
I am disappointed the new gear isn't rank restricted. Could have removed the old restrictions again and placed them on these. A lot of people put hundreds of hours into rank just to have it be meaningless. Just a straight up slap in the face and catering to those that want all the glam and best gear right away. Why not also give them the Savage Midas gear? They want it, so give it to them. You made a rule saying people had to work for PvP gear and threw it out the window. Why not give people Savage gear as well if they fail enough at it? Let them just queue into Savage, refuse to learn mechanics or strategy, not respond to anyone, do their own thing, and get their gear. Seems to be the theme. Cheers. Blitzen Twiceburn, Adamantoise of Defy FC, Blitzkrieg PvP LS.
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
Wow.
P.S. Fenrir Pup is sweet too.
A lot of good points are brought up there, and especially about competition. I mean, there are an abundance of FF14 players that just want participation trophies, and the crazy thing is that they do get, as Blitzen points out right here at the end, they get the participation trophies because it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you're still getting wolf marks for your participation, and wolf marks are the only thing you need.
True, but they also, Square Enix did add that
the ranked mode,
the ranked rewards.
That's it, though. I mean, first of all, that's pretty steep for anyone. Yeah. And second of all, like, that's brutal, and I like that. That's great. But, that is a great point that it seems like for PvP, you can just fail upward.
Yeah, but I mean,
you can fail your eye level up, like Kahlo does, right? Like Kahlo did that. He failed his PvP rank ups all the way to whatever the hell PvP rank you are, and no one was able to stop you. It wasn't based off of a win-loss ratio, and then the only thing, true, but the only thing that does is are these crazy ranked match rewards and requirements. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they should have been here and they did this. It's incredibly imbalanced.
Well, while we're talking about PvP real quick, there is a really sweet title for ninjas called the Unseen, and they actually have a title for each role. So tank, physical DPS, range DPS, magic, and healer, right?
Mm-hmm.
in order to get these titles, you have to win 1,000 matches per role type.
Okay.
That's a lot of matches to win. Like just the regular win 1,000 matches like title is 1,000. So like if you wanted all of them, you'd be winning like you'd have to win like 7,000 matches. Not even play 7,000. Win. That's a lot of PvP matches.
I mean, it'd be hard to still be bad after that many PvP matches.
Unseen is for the ranged DPS. So see, I would have to go in as a bard or a machinist. Heaven forbid.
Ugh. But no, I do understand that sense of frustration. Although, if you think about it, with time and eye level, Square Enix ends up making that Savage gear much more ubiquitous and easier to obtain over time too. So it's not like they don't ever do it. It's not like
they're just doing it quicker.
It's not ever a giveaway, except when we're at the point now, like where we have the replica Allegan gear from that we're finally just getting out of Binding Coil, right? Like we're just to that point now. So but we still eventually get a gimme. Like that is a gimme. You don't. There are people who will never touch Coil that could get the Allegan stuff out of it. They just buy it.
Yeah.
Same thing. It just takes longer. That's all. Anyway, thanks for the Gigundus email. Who wants to take the next one?
I do.
Okay.
Hey, LBR crew. I just wanted to email you guys just to say how grateful I am to be in this community that this podcast has created.
You're welcome.
Everyone needs some positivity, and I feel like I need to give some out to the hosts individually, but to the chat also. You are all the best. I still can't describe the love and support I feel from you guys, even after being here for about 5 months. Just accepting me for who I am is more than I have seen in communities I've been in for 5 years. I can't possibly call out to people in chat who I've helped and have helped me, so all I can say is, you know who you are, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also know some people who are listening right now who are in a tough spot. Just remember that this community is here for you. We care for you and will share the burden of whatever you're going through together. You're not alone. And for each of the hosts, to a Nero. I have the utmost belief that whatever you decide for your future career, whether that be a professional setting or whatever you consider LBR to be, you'll be making a great decision and you'll have the backing of the LBR Army no matter what. Your passion for this show demonstrates how much you care about your work. It's an immense amount of passion that can't possibly be recreated and will take you to amazing places.
Oh, thank you.
To Nika. From what I can tell from playing with you a little bit on Swagatanis and watching Nikalia streams, you're an awesome, caring person, and it's not just because you're half of Nikalia. Be sure to keep the rest of the crew in check when you're there.
Nobody cares she's not here.
Move on.
To Juxta, whose little paragraph is the shortest, by the way. Always on point with those drops, and they make me laugh every time. Keep it up, don't scratch the tattoo, and do your job! To Kahlo, it's been awesome working on the Late Late Show.
Like how he matched the inflection.
Man, I do me.
It's been awesome working on the Late Late Show with you. Seeing it develop from just an idea and a stream to a full bi-weekly show is just fantastic. You really helped me through some depressing times with your sense of humor on your streams. Keep it up. Oh, and happy late birthday again. To Escalia. We can skip that part.
Okay.
Well, since this email will be read after you're not alone, I just want to say congrats. No matter how much money you raised, 5 or 5,000, what you did made a difference to someone for the better. I just hope I didn't fall asleep during your stream. I'm glad to call you a friend, and I'm sure that you don't regret that decision. Here's to more charity streams in the future. And to the lurkers in the chat and the people listening in on Tuesdays, you should interact with us. Say hi in the chat, tune in live, call in, send an email. You'll find that once you do, you'll be in good company. For as much as you hear these 5 shout at everyone and generally seem mean, remember this. Beneath all that salt, there is some sugar.
I'm not sure that's how chemistry works.
I don't think
it's
I
not.
don't know.
It's
Super duper sincerely, Melky Thera, aka Karen.
Well, thank you very much for that email, Melky.
I love you.
That was very nice. That was a very nice email. All right, let's take another one. We've got emails that have been piling up for the last couple of weeks. So why don't we take this other one here from Gwenna Mindir. And it says, hey, LBR crew, I'm not sure if this would make for some good periodic bit akin to FMFFL, but I'll throw the suggestion out there nonetheless. And if you don't want bit ideas, I fully accept my mountain of Go Pound Salt from the Elder Primal. But anyway.
Okay. Then I guess just pout.
You should serve as the FF14 confessional. Take calls and emails from players who have weird habits, screwed people over, or were just unintentional asshat. Someone saw someone undercutting you and decided to crush every market, and every other person was just to spite them. Face pulled S rank hunt early, or do you just like to talk a bunch of shit in PvP yet suck hard? Do you collect weird trinkets for no apparent reason, like the guy who had over 50 stacks of Popatos? Do you price gouge seasonal items during the event and still prey on lazy people?
Do you not?
All of these things can be pretty funny to read about, and everyone has or knows someone that has a story, and in an MMO these things happen all the time. Might be funny to collect them for a couple of months and read alongside FMFFLs. Obviously this would be anonymous. Maybe call it MDFFS, my dirty Final Fantasy secret.
Anonymous? Do you know this show very well? I don't think they'd be anonymous.
No, we can keep it anonymous. We can keep it anonymous.
Well, obviously, if someone emailed in with this, they would just not put their name on it.
I mean, we would know who they are.
We would know who they, yes, but we wouldn't call them out for their shitty behavior because it would just be... Yeah.
Unless it was Skuro.
That's right.
No, they're all from Skuro. Let's see how bad Skuro is today.
So Gwenna starts. A member in my free company engaged in a price war with another crafter. The FC mate discovered all the markets the other crafter was in and flooded every single one with an excessive number of cheap goods. He did this for weeks. He lost tons of gil, but he didn't care. He just wanted to screw the other guys. Hashtag MDFFS.
Wow, you're a dick, Skuro.
Yeah, fuck off, Skuro. That's not very nice.
Lol. So
I kind of like that segment.
Yeah, I do kind of like that segment.
I think it's a better name.
So there you go. I like that. I do like that segment. If you want to, if that's something that you would want to hear, I don't know. Let us know. Let's go back to our phone lines. I think we've got Lauro Felix hanging on. What's up, Lauro?
Hey guys, great episode.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so wanted to call. I'll talk briefly about the potential for the Xbox experience. So Final Fantasy XI comes out on the PS2 back in 2001. A bunch of my friends got it. I didn't get excited on the PS2 at the time, and then eventually I got a 360, saw the TOAU copy, and that's how I got into Final Fantasy XI, and I played that until Abyssy kind of ruined that game. So there's definitely potential there, and some of my friends, they started playing on the 360 as far as 11 goes. One of them, she is interested in playing 14, but her PC isn't that great, or it's a family PC or something like that.
Right.
So she was talking to me the other day about how if 14 was ever on the Xbox, she'd play it. So if this whole Sony, Microsoft, let's hold hands and be friendly deal goes through, then we can finally have more people coming in. And it would definitely bring a whole lot more energy to the scene. Because I remember when I was playing 11, I had so many questions, but everybody was still friendly, and I had a lot of friends who wanted to do everything that there was to do in the game. So,
well, and you know, I think that's a pretty good point too. Is that with Final Fantasy XIV, how much do we really need to support the low end, the newbies, the people just coming in? Because so much of it is very much learned straight from the get-go, straight from the system itself, from leveling and playing the game itself, and B, how helpful people are. You know, like there is FF14 is, if nothing else, it's notable for having a very helpful, very open, very communicative community along with it. And so when would Square Enix finally be able to lean into that? and go, well, our community is good enough at filling in some of these gaps. We can finally start concentrating on, not having an inroad for new people, for new players.
Not to mention, it's not like 11 where you were going to be leveling for months on end. You're going to get to max level way quicker.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I do think that simply adding Xbox One support, it'll increase numbers. It'll definitely increase numbers. But I mean, it's not, first of all, it's not the only MMO on Xbox One. I'm pretty sure that Elder Scrolls Online is also on Xbox One.
Yeah, my friend was playing ESO right now.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure that ESO saw a big push from being the only MMO on Xbox One, because it is the only MMO right now on Xbox One. So I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that, like, I don't know that MMO players are buying consoles, and I don't know that anyone buying consoles aren't, like, they don't know what an MMO is. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to see who exactly the audience would be.
It's hard to compare ESO because, as far as I understand it, because I haven't played it myself, ESO has 3 separate networks. So even if let's say they added it on the Wii U, yeah, it expands the player base, but the player base isn't playing together, so it really doesn't matter.
Oh, it's still fractured?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fractured behind consoles. Like, if you're playing on Xbox 360, you're only playing with other on Xbox One, you're only playing with other Xbox users. If you're playing on PC, you're only playing with other PC users. It's terrible. It's like the worst possible way to design an MMO.
Yeah, when she was telling me about it, she essentially said that is one of the worst parts about the game, is that she's not able to play with other people, because from what she's telling me about some of the Xbox players, they're not used to seeing anything that requires 8 people or even 12 people. Heaven forbid, 18 or 24 people to kill something. So apparently ESO is supposed to be getting some kind of 12-man content this month or something like that.
Well,
and they're all freaking out.
The kid that I work with is talking to you about who plays Xbox. Like, he plays Destiny, right? And like, I'm sure we were actually talking today. He was talking about that. I was talking about FF14, and like, so many, like, there are actually some things that line up. Like, light level that they have, is officially item level, right? But like, I'm telling you about some stuff. He's just like, oh, that's so weird. Like, blah 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 blah, and it's just like, look, and if you're from, I feel like for the majority, when you have your Xbox fanboys, if you can't just point and shoot, they're not gonna get it. I'm actually surprised that I got him into Fallout 4, and honestly, the only reason why is because you can point and shoot at things in that.
Well, so yeah, I think, I mean, there would absolutely be a bunch of people who, if it was on Xbox One, would pick it up. I just don't think it's going to be that many. I don't think it's even going to be as many as checked out FF11 coming to Xbox 360. That's just my opinion, though. So.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Laura. We appreciate it. We always appreciate the calls, and I think that's going to be it. I think we've run the 3 hours here for Limit Break Radio. Laura was going to be our last call, but why don't we take one more email? Kahlo, you want to read this last email here?
Sure do.
All right.
Hello, Limit Break Radio, Bareface. Side note again, my apology for my poor English. I'm always afraid to send an email. Well, don't be afraid, Bareface. We love emails. I first want to state that I really do enjoy the new PvP mode. I myself play as White Mage, Astrologian, or Scholar. I made it to Bronze, and I'm getting close to Silver. I wanted to bring attention to an issue I've noticed with the recent addition of the Feast PvP mode. Unfortunately, in the ranked PvP Feast mode, I've seen some people from the community would fake disconnect or not doing anything to let the other team win. Sometimes it is an extra character, mule character, that is played from the opposing team. They do this because then they can easily boost through the ranks without providing much effort. Also, with each match giving lore, some players just sit there and do nothing until the match is over to get free lore. I am not exactly sure how I feel about this, but I think this might be pretty hurtful for the PvP community for people who genuinely want to play PvP. My question to you guys is, do you think this is something Square Enix could fix, or is it just a community issue that
I don't know, Kahlo. What do you think about this issue?
In PvP Feast because it actively hurts the other people. No, I actually participate in the Feast.
Could you pretend to try?
I'm not really sure if the first thing he mentions, where someone's like, logging on like a mule character and then just loading in to give the other team a disadvantage. Like, all right, that sucks. But couldn't that backfire and you like might end up on a team doing the same thing or something?
Huh? What?
Like, let's say that when Jux is gone, I log him in, right? And then I queue both of us for the feast, hoping that he would get onto the opposing team.
But sometimes I pop in on your team.
Or you might not even be in my match. Like, I feel like that isn't going to pay out for the effort that goes into it, right?
It depends, like, if you could do it like a slow time, get like a pre-made group of 4, I don't know, maybe?
Well, you can only do pre-mades of like
that's true.
2, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like that probably isn't something that'll live too long, because I feel like, it's kind of a wasted effort. But the other thing, I can definitely like see that really being a problem. And I don't know, because usually you have to wait 15 minutes to vote kick people. I don't know if it's quicker in PvP or not, or in the feast or not. But if that becomes a prevalent problem, I'm sure that Square Enix will find a way to fix it. Honestly, if you're in the feast and you are inactive for more than 15, 20 seconds, you should be kicked.
Ooh, wow. I don't know about that, man.
I would say 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, 45. The point is, though, like, they said that the matches should only be like 6 to 8 minutes long.
Right.
Yeah.
So you should always be pressing something.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Maybe not 15 because laggy sort of issues, but
what happens if someone does AFK and then the system boots them? What? You're just down a person? Does it end the match?
No, you're just down a person.
You would just be down a person.
So 3 versus 4.
Yeah.
The same thing.
It was 3 versus 4 before.
I know, but I mean, like, that doesn't really help anything.
Well, if the guy if you get kicked a bunch of times, if you start facing punishments for that, then it will.
Yeah, you know what? They could give the same sort of debuff that you get if you back out of a queue, or if you quit from something.
There you go.
You know, it happens too many times in a day. That's it. You're done for the day.
Plus,
Fuck off.
Plus, the guy who gets booted that way doesn't get the lore, so it becomes worthless to do it.
Of course not. Yeah. I mean, obviously, people could still just sort of like run around the outside edge and just keep running in and getting themselves killed. But I mean, there's not really anything you can do.
There's
about
always
that.
going to be people who are going to be dicks.
What if they're just really bad players? Okay, they deserve their welfare lore as well.
Okay, if they're really bad players, then I hope you got your autograph and screenshot from Escalia while you could.
Lol. All right, that's going to do it here for episode number 56 of Limit Break Radio. Thank you for all of your emails. You can send emails to hosts@limitbreakradio.com. I'm going to say this again. Try to keep them brief. We can only read so many emails if one of the emails is 6 pages long. And the thing is I mean, there were a lot of really good points in there, and I did feel like it should have been read, but I mean, like, it took 15 minutes to read. So, try to make it a reasonable length. Hosts@limitbreakradio.com is where you can send those emails. If you want to participate in our new game that came to us from a listener, I guess hashtag those. Are we gonna run with that hashtag? Are we gonna
FFX?
I like what was it? Dirty Little Final Fantasy Secret.
Yeah, my dirty Final Fantasy Secret, MDFFS. So, yeah, if you wanna share those hashtag MDFFS, we'll read a couple of those on the show. If you've got a little secret that you want to share, of course, we'll do that anonymously. And you can send those in to hosts@limitbreakradio.com. Share them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/limitbreakradio, or tweet them at us at limitbreakradio on Twitter. Let's see. If you want to call in, make sure that you're tuning in live. Listen to our show live on Twitch, and tune in for a chance to call in 810-515-8715. Limit Break Radio on Skype. That's all how that's done. And of course, we now offer Discord call-in as well. Final Encountercast is going to be going weekly here pretty soon, and we are excited about that change. We're not 100% sure what is on the docket for next week, weekend, being that it's a holiday. But be sure to check at our website, limitbreakradio.com and Final Encountercast for all the latest information. We're super excited about taking Final Encountercast weekly, and we want to thank you for your help and support over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. We're currently sitting at $2,300 a month being brought in at patreon.com/limitbreakradio, and that is so awesome for us. And we have come up with a whole bunch of new funding thresholds, goals, milestones that we've put out, and we've put out a whole line of content that we want to be supported at those echelons of funding. So if you've got a couple of extra bucks rolling around in your pocket, then head on over to patreon.com/limitbreakradio and give whatever is appropriate for your budget. We have now finished the process of getting all of the physical items, all of the physical give backs, all of the physical rewards for you guys who have been giving at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. We really appreciate your patience in getting all of this stuff to you guys. We never thought starting a podcast we would have to figure out t-shirt printing or have problems with t-shirt printing, but here we are. So thank you guys for your patience and for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/limitbreakradio if you have a couple of bucks rolling around that you can give to help support the cause, help keep the show running, and help it keep going strong every single week, just like Final Encountercast will end up becoming in just 1 week's time. Thank you guys so much for listening. LimitBreakRadio.com is the website. Twitch.tv/LimitBreakRadio. Hit that follow button, and Limit Break Radio on all of your social media platforms. That's going to be it for us. For Juxtaposition, Kalo Landis, Escalia Rayumasa, even though she couldn't be here with us, Nika Kayanian, shout out to producer Kookie and Papa Woody for being our intern. I'm an hero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Kalo Landis and Aniro Grigori. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Captain Failboat, Zurian Urexin, Azura Giacho, Bianca Forwin, Kalina Ashsaber, Thor Carson, My Waifu, Satori Komeji, Darbykins, and Sakura-chan, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/limitbreakradio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.